Hello, craft beer friends, and welcome to Season 9, Episode 19 of Tap the Craft Podcast. I am Denny Luce, coming to you from Boise, Idaho, and my partner in craft, the dog whisperer, and my favorite Florida man from Tampa, Florida, Mr. Chris McKenzie. Chris, how are you doing tonight? And please introduce our special guests.
It is a wonderful day in Florida, so much so that I had to wear long sleeves today. It was a little chilly, right? It was getting a little cool here in Tampa, so I had to put some long sleeves on today. But I'm so excited to be talking this evening to Tina and Maurice, or Mo, as I know him, at Marker 48 Brewing. They're on here with us. You guys founded Marker 48, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
You guys, it is your baby. So you're the not only the keg and bottle washers, but bathroom attendants, bookkeepers. You break it, we fix it, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
You guys get to do a little bit of all of it. So, guys, welcome to the show with us. We're excited to have you guys on with us, and we're excited to try some of your beers tonight too.
Yay!
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
We have some beers too. What do we have?
I hope you have what we
brought
have.
beers out.
I emailed her. I told her what we were drinking tonight.
Yeah.
But Denny, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to drinking with all of you, enjoying some great Marker 48 beers. I have to admit, two of the three that we'll be having tonight, I've already had and thoroughly enjoyed. And we're saving the last one. I decided once we found out you were coming on, I said, you know what? I'll just do a live tasting first time.
Nice.
For your red ale, Irish Red, which I'm a big fan of Irish Red, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Nice.
But yeah, we'll be doing that, and of course, I say it every week. It doesn't matter how bad your Monday is. When I know that I'm going to get on here and chat with my buddy Chris, drink some beers, the day always ends fantastic. So I hope this will end fantastic for both of you as well. After chatting with us for an hour or so and drinking some good beer.
Agreed. Yes.
Yeah, for
Dude.
sure.
Yeah. Mondays can kind of suck sometimes. So
Yeah, of course.
craft beer makes it better.
Yeah.
No doubt.
All right. Well, we're going to get started. Before we get started, I always like to let anyone new listening to Tap the Craft Podcast know what we're all about. We are an educational podcast focused around celebrating all things craft beer because we want to assist you, our listener, along in your craft beer journey and adventures. And you are listening to episode 227, recording on Monday, April 3rd, 2023. We are live on Facebook. And if you would like to join us on Facebook while we record, you can do that on the Monday before our show releases. And this week, as we already kind of mentioned, we're going to learn about Mark 48 Brewing. And while interviewing Tina and Mo, or Maurice Ryman, do you like to go by Mo or Maurice? What do you prefer?
It's fine. Mo's fine.
Okay. Mo's easier, so I'll just go with Mo.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned as well, we're going to do some tasting of some of their beers. Looking forward to that, as well as having some great conversation. So before we grill you, I'll give you a quick little breakdown. We're going to do a first tasting, and we'll talk about the beer a little bit, and then we'll go in, and we want to find out about your craft beer journeys.
Awesome.
I love learning about how people got started with craft beer and how their journey progressed, as they went along, because that's what's fun about this whole craft beer hobby is exploring people's journeys.
Yep.
All right. So let's go ahead and do you guys have the Marker Light?
We do.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with the Marker Light because, as the name says, it's the lightest one we have, right?
We do have Marker Light.
Which I love the label on this one. So for those of you that haven't tried this one, it looks vaguely familiar to something you guys might know.
Got to block the back here. I don't know whatever.
Yeah. Chris had it.
I got it. I got you. This will end up being a magnet on my beer fridge in a couple of weeks.
Cool.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So
And this is the label inspires. It's just to get the discussion going that craft beer can be as good or not as the big guys. So it's just a conversation piece. I don't know that this label will be our final end all label to this beer, but we thought it was fun. At least it's a again, it gets people talking about it,
Yep.
and that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
Well, let's do the thing.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're already there. Geez, I am behind.
I've already got it poured. I'm ready to start drinking.
Okay,
This is
well, I
what
got to put it in my
Yeah.
tap the craft glass.
normally I pour so hard that it's foaming out and spilling over my keyboard, but I did a really good job. Too good. The head's not there, but you can see there's still nice
Yep.
bubbles. So
Okay,
and
but now
nice and clear.
now I got to keep it cold to be sure.
Nice,
There we
Chris.
go.
Product placement.
Yeah.
I told Tina, I said, look, I feel like I'm selling out here. I told her as soon as I get my Marker 48 Speedo, I'll be, good to go.
Hold on, listen.
It's on the way.
I'm gonna
Okay.
We
say-
just ordered it. It's
Get it
being
in a large
delivered
so
next
it's snug.
week.
All right. So first off, very clear, nice clear beer. It's
Yep.
got straw, kind of like a straw coloring to it.
You can
Yep.
Lots of
definitely see
bubbles.
right through that.
I love the effervescence of it. I mean, a good light beer has to have a little bit of bubbles in there. That's always good.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is a rice lager.
Mhm.
Its competitor is literally the big guys that
Mhm.
you can imagine. So yeah, we just wanted we'll call it the Florida lawnmower beer.
Okay.
Like you're out mowing the lawn in August and it's 98 degrees and 110% humidity, and you want something that you can drink and just refreshing and light, and you can just pound them and you're fine.
Yeah.
This is literally that beer. So
Okay.
Yeah,
And what
yeah.
did you use any kind of special rice in brewing this?
So it's just standard, our malt bill is, 2-row, little bit of Pilsner in there, and then, a rice, so rice hulls. So it's nothing too extravagant. We kept it real simple on this, malt bill.
Okay.
And we just really wanted that, the cleanness to
Yeah.
really come through on
Yeah.
it is what our goal was. So lagers, obviously, and especially 4%,
Mhm.
there's no adjuncts in it. There's nothing that, aside from rice,
Yeah.
that will overpower the malt or the hop. And we just wanted each ingredient really to shine through on this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
But still be in that 4% ABV.
Okay.
So that it's just super drinkable and refreshing. So
Yeah.
that was the goal with Marker Light for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's if you're out in the boat, if you're out in the boat, you're out, like Tina said, mowing the yard, you're just doing stuff in the summer of Florida, drinking 9% double IPA.
It's not gonna work.
Jeez. Imagine doing that in the humidity, just pushing a lawnmower with a 9% double IPA.
I'm sure some people do it. And
Stout season. Yeah.
I mean, I usually do that when I'm hanging Christmas lights, but
Yeah.
but not in August.
Kyle Marrero's drinking this along with us too.
Oh,
welcome,
awesome, Kyle. Cheers.
Cheers to that, Kyle.
So the aroma is light in aroma. You get some of that, some of that maybe bread crusty-ish or maybe
Yes.
cereal malt in there. Very light,
Yep.
not strong, which is okay. But what I like is it kind of lulls you into okay, this is going to be a super light beer, and then you take a sip of it, and that's when it opens up, and you get you definitely get that rice. What I explained in my first description when I checked it in on Untapped is I said it's like a rice, almost like a rice tea. I mean, you get some heavy rice character, which I'm okay with because I like, I enjoy it. But it really shocked me because when I first smelled it, I'm like, okay, well, it's light, definitely light. And then the flavor hit, and I'm like, wow, this beer has some good flavor. And unlike, the mimicking label of other type beers, it tastes refreshing and not sharp and not, doesn't have any of those negative connotations that I do usually get when I drink those beers. So I was really impressed with this one.
Thank you.
Yeah. This one took us a few shots to get it to what we like. Really liked it. And our brewers right now, Sean, Kyle, Drew, Chad, they all been knocking out of the park on the lager game. And this one's been hard because there's not there's not a lot
Nothing
of
to hide.
things to hide behind.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So
Mhm.
you got every little component of these low ABV, very very clean kind of malt bills
Mhm.
and hop bills. You got to really execute it just right to be on point. So yeah, super. I mean, this has been my go-to beer all summer.
Mhm.
Or like all winter, and then summer when we brewed it in fall and before that. So and probably be in the spring and summer for me. So yeah, ever since we locked this recipe in, just been super happy with it.
Yeah.
And it's been and it's been a huge fan favorite at the brewery and the tap room. So
Yeah.
I can imagine. I
yep.
can imagine.
Um,
It's
so
I was going to say you really well done because it may have taken a few iterations, but it really pays off because this beer is super clean, and I hate using it's balanced, but it is so well balanced because you
Thank
get
you.
that sense of a little bit of sweetness up front, but it doesn't
Mhm.
finish sweet, right? It finishes off, really kind of level, balanced out. And so a great job of just making something that's refreshing and uh and even kind of bright in some ways, because you just get
Mhm.
this really refreshing, crisp character out of it, and it's super clean. And I mean, I can appreciate it. I've had some lagers
Thank
that
you.
can't keep it clean, and having such a light beer like this, really well done. So I just
Thank
want to
you.
give you
appreciate
praise.
it, Danny. Yeah.
I think that's a true testament because, like Mo said, I think the lagers are a beer that you can't hide behind.
Hmm.
Like, I think breweries that do lagers really well are like the true like heroes because there's no lactose to hide behind. There's
Oh
no
yeah.
adjuncts to hide behind. Like, the beer is the beer, right? Like,
Yeah.
here it is. Like, so
Yeah,
And-
we're super happy about this one, and I think it's we brewed it as kind of like almost a one-off seasonal. We have another lager I think we'll probably taste and talk about
Yeah.
on the show here, but it's a little higher ABV and a little different malt bill, but just the fan favorite of this is like they our customers, and like just they love it. They just drink the heck out of it. So
yeah.
we do too. So I mean, that's what matters. I mean, we want to brew beers that we like to drink, and that's one of the main reasons to get in the
Yep.
in the
Yeah.
craft beer. And yeah, so pretty happy with that one. So as everything goes, we're still evolving it. We might change it up a little bit, but I don't think a lot. I think it's
I
pretty
don't
much
think there's a
solid.
lot to change here.
Please
to be honest
don't.
with you.
I love it.
Aside from the
You
label,
are.
maybe the label at some point we might have to change.
Only if you have to.
just maybe the
Just
label.
saying. Just put the label next to the letter. That's
Yeah.
frame it on, put it on the wall. Kyle
Yeah.
Adams said it's weird how I've only been able to purchase this by the flat to go.
Yeah, I know, it's true. It's true.
I don't blame you, man. That's pretty damn good.
Kyle, Kyle, thank you, Kyle. We appreciate you keeping us in business. Thank you very much.
Okay, well,
Kyle's a good friend.
we'll
And a
we'll
good
keep
brewer.
yeah,
Kyle Adams.
we'll keep
Oh,
sipping
Kyle.
on we'll keep sipping on this one, but let's get into your guys' craft beer journeys. And we have a few
Yeah.
questions that we'd just like to ask all of our people we bring on, whether you're a brewer or some other businessman or just a friend of the show. We always want to find out about their craft beer journey. So the
Yeah.
first question is obviously the easiest one. How did you guys, each of you, discover craft beer?
So we actually, years and years ago, so we're in Hernando County, obviously, and craft beer was kind of a not known in our county at all, in Florida. And Tampa, Hillsborough County, obviously there was a lot of great breweries, coming up in the ranks, Cigar City and, Tampa Bay Brewing Company, just tons of great breweries. But Hernando County was kind of this little like island of county that there was like no craft beer. no breweries, no nothing. And then this little tiny restaurant in Wiki Wachi opened called Becky Jack's Food Shack. And the owners were from St. Pete area, Florida, and very familiar with craft beer. And they were kind of the first to bring craft beer up into Hernando County at their little tiny restaurant called Becky Jack's Food Shack. And I mean, for being such a small place, they had, I want to say like 12 craft beer taps, all
wow.
craft beer, all Florida craft beer taps. Like they were very, very kind of stringent on what they had. They had a couple out of states too, but it was mostly Florida. They tried to focus on Florida. So Maurice and I at the time lived in Hernando Beach, and we frequented there often, and we would go in, and every time we would go in, we would try craft beer and loved it. And so for us, that's kind of what started us.
Yeah, and at the same time,
Yeah.
we had been traveling. So our business before beer was software. So that's
Still
what
is.
still is. Yep. And which gave us some opportunity to like travel around the country and whatnot. So we have an RV, and we take our kids and like go out in the summer and go to Colorado and Montana and just all these states out west, California, and obviously being
Idaho.
Colorado being a big, Idaho being a big beer centric area, we just kind of gravitate to these Western states that were, craft beer was definitely proliferating in.
Yeah.
And just kind of fell in love with the culture and fell in love with the idea of like brewery and whatnot. And we were fine in our other company. I mean, we had, software was good. Like we were doing fine. Like there's no problems there. But Hernando County didn't have that brewery. And we just would come back home and we'd be like, man, it'd be great if somebody actually like somebody else opened a brewery in Hernando County. It would be
It's
awesome.
always someone
I would
else.
love it. I would spend a lot of money there. I would support the hell out of that place.
We kept waiting every
Yeah.
year we would come home from our
Yeah.
trip and we would say this every year for years.
Like, man, somebody should do this.
Somebody should do this in this county. It would do so good.
And so yeah, one year we were in Montana, of all places, Phillipsburg Brewing Company. Shout out to those guys. So sitting in their little tap room, and if anybody on the show should seek out Phillipsburg Brewing in Montana, fantastic brewery, brewing world-class beers. I mean, awarded many times over. It's just super great place. And someplace special to Tina and I. So we sat there and we decided like, hey, when we get home, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And
We're tired of waiting on somebody else to do this.
Yep.
We're just gonna do it ourselves. We'll just do it ourselves.
Yep. And that's where we decided to.
Yeah.
That's our journey of it.
We were like, we've been to so many great breweries in this country, from literally Florida to California and everywhere in between. And we've taken so many notes along the way, like mental notes and like literally physical notes in our phone, like things that we loved and didn't love, because it's so much more than the beer, right? Like tap rooms are so much more than the beer. They really are. Let's just face it. So yeah, we had like all these things that were like, we had this conversation like, should we do this? We can do this. Should we do this? Yes, we can do this. We can do this. So that's what kind of started.
How long was it between the time that you discovered craft beer and then you decided to actually pursue the brewery? Was it
Probably 5 years almost.
Only
Yeah,
5
it
years.
might-
Okay.
Yeah,
It might have even been longer. Yeah.
Yeah, we probably had been traveling for probably longer than
Yeah.
like 7 or 8 years. But we I mean, drinking Sierra Nevada pale ales like way before even we knew craft beer was a thing. Like, like down here in Florida, it was hard. Like Cigar City, as soon as Cigar City opened and Tampa, like Dundee Brewing, like we drank all those beers, but never correlated like the significance of craft per se it's just like, beer. But as soon as we made that connection, like this is a thing, and this is like a way of, almost a way of life per se,
Yeah.
and culture and all that. Like, there was probably 6 or 8 years before we opened the brewery. Like that's when we really made that connection.
Okay.
So it took us a little while there to do it, but certainly our love of craft wasn't as long as some folks, but once we knew what we knew, it was we were all in, man. Like it really resonated with us for sure.
Yeah. So going back to that time when that store opened, or that tap room opened up and had all those beers, was there a gateway beer of those that you found that just kind of gravitated you towards wanting to pursue more craft beer options? Was there anything special that you couldn't get before?
Yeah, there was definitely, they brought in some cool stuff, and even before that, we kind of seeked some things out, but there's obviously pivotal beers, like you drink them and like, hey, this is definitely not the big beers of the world, and that right away. So again, I spoke like the pale ales. Dogfish was put cool stuff out back then.
I love Lost Abbey.
Yeah. So
that's my favorite. Shout out to Lost Abbey, like in California. That's still like my favorite, like of all time, like my favorite brewery.
Okay. Yeah. I have some bottles here somewhere. I was looking around to see if I could pull them down, but I don't think they must be buried.
But you got it. So from Tampa, the Florida market, you got all the guys have just been really grinding out for years. The Tampa Bay Brewing, like Dave and their team, and obviously Scar City and Dunedin Brewing, just those beers and like what they were doing long before any of us were around. Like there's you got to pay a tremendous amount of respect for them,
and great beers.
They've been doing amazing things, and they're all like just a number one people, and like how they run their business and the beers they make. Super happy for them, and like all the success they're all having. So that's kind of like, we're 8 years into it, but it seems like a blink of an eye right now. But it's, I don't know, like one beer or like a couple of gateway beers. I don't know, like it's hard. It's hard. Like there's a couple big ones I know that just were able to get in.
I love dark beer. I loved dark beers when we first started. Like I was obsessed with like Belgian quads and
nice.
Oh man, I loved Left Hand's milk stout. Like that was one of my favorites. And we actually, I'm like, we got to go to Longwood. So we actually went to Longwood, Colorado, and visited Left Hand Brewing when we were like, before we even opened the brewery. I'm like, I love this beer so much. And we went to their tap room, and it's this like tiny little tap room in Longmont, Colorado. Like you would never know. They're just like putting out like hundreds, like thousands of barrels a year. It's crazy. So, but I still fangirl over like all those like big breweries. I love them so much.
Good.
I love them. Yeah.
Okay.
We go to Colorado, and it's like Maurice and I are like, ooh, we're like fangirling.
It's your
all
Disney.
These breweries.
I'm definitely.
It is.
It's
Absolutely.
I'm totally fangirling.
You are fangirling.
So it's definitely harder to come up with a gateway beer, but what about a beer style that you first encountered and didn't really like very much, but over the years you've grown to enjoy it more? Is there a style like that?
I can answer that.
Okay.
I'm going to go to like IPAs.
Oh yeah.
Like again, like when we first started drinking beer, craft beer, I loved dark beer. Like the maltier and sweeter, the better.
Higher ABV.
Like higher ABVs. Maurice would make fun of me. Every place we go, I'd be like, what's the highest ABV beer you have? Yep, that's the one
what everyone
does.
does.
Yeah. But now, like there was a long period of time where like I kind of like my taste just changed.
Mhm.
And now like it's like, oh, what's like the hoppiest, like what's your highest IBU like beer? Like that's the one I'm gonna love. And when we first started drinking craft beer, I will never forget the first time at Becky Jack's Food Shack that I tried Tampa Bay Brewing's Old Elephant Foot IPA.
I heard about that one. I haven't had it myself, but I've heard of that.
Yeah. And I was literally like, oh my God, who would drink this? Ugh, you know? And now it's like, give me an Old Elephant Foot and I will
Wow.
like hammer it. Like, I love it. It's like my favorite. Yeah. So
Sorry,
Okay.
Dave.
There you go.
Nothing,
no, nothing against.
We love
Yeah.
you.
I just didn't like
we drink a
IPAs.
lot.
But I love it now. It's my favorite. One of my favorites, but yeah.
How about you, Maurice? You have a beer style that you just couldn't handle, but now you're like, yeah, I can ease into this a little bit better.
And so I've always been, smoke has always been my
Mhm.
kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
not, I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
So anything, anything, it's still to this day, anything in the smoke category, I can't do.
Until we went to Germany.
Well, until we went to Germany.
Exactly. I was going to say
Yeah.
that the Germans know how to make
And
some
we had
good
the
smoked
Rosh beer.
Yeah.
Directly from
her, like
Yeah.
that was cool.
Yeah.
Like, and they
Yeah.
were pretty delicious, but, and I mean, they're done well. It's just, I guess, probably a psychological thing. I don't know. I mean, there's probably not a beer I wouldn't drink personally, but
he's like Mikey.
yeah, I like that. I appreciate some more than others, and
Mhm.
even if they're not
Yeah.
as palatable to like the general public or whatnot, I get it. Like I know when a beer is, if millions of people don't like it, that's one thing. But if it's
Yeah.
brewed the way it should be, I can appreciate that. So, I'm good with that. But yeah, I seem to gravitate more as like IPAs earlier on, and now I'm more into that like clean, clear
Lager.
Beer flavored beer, right?
Yeah.
Beer flavored beer is definitely a thing
Oh, yeah.
for me right now. So, and always has been, but it's and also, I mean, when you're in the beer world and you're going to like beer fest and you're doing beer tastings, you're doing beer things every day, and you're drinking a lot of beer, you gotta like 4% beers get you through the day a lot better than 9% beers. So,
Exactly.
like that's a thing too. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. I no longer look for the highest ABV beers.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore.
That was my thing too. I think that was a lot of people's early on, is because for one thing, you're paying a premium price. So you feel like, you know what, if I'm going to pay this price, I can get this 9% or 7% or this 4.5%. Well, I'll get the bigger one, right?
Because I'm bang for your buck.
Yeah. But I'm not that way either. I'm getting too old where I just enjoy these 4% beers that I can drink all day without a problem. I like those.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, alcohol shopping's definitely an issue,
Yeah.
like at the tap room too. Like we'll get people come in, it's like, just give me your highest ABV.
Highest
beer.
ABV, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like Tina might have been there at one point. Different reasons.
It's all part of her craft beer journey, right? She started
That's
off
right.
and then she's come back around where she realizes, you know what? It's not about just getting that buzz. It's about enjoying the different characteristics.
Actually, it wasn't even about that back then. I just like the sweetness from the like the higher ABV beers usually tend to be on like the sweeter side because they have like a higher malt, bill. So that's at the time what I really enjoyed,
Okay.
So it just kind of equated to me like the higher the ABV, the sweeter the beer, and that's kind of what I liked.
Okay.
So that was my palate back then, but
yeah, that can definitely mess you up now, because now some of these sweeter ones, well, so even some of the ones that aren't so sweet, like the alcohol, brewers are able to hide the alcohol so well in beers.
Yeah.
Even in hoppy beers or whatever, where normally back in like 2012, 2013, when the triple IPA and quadruple IPA were like the big IBUs and the big alcohol, these are like 14% IPAs, and it was just hard to drink those things because it was just too much. Now I'm getting especially with this New England IPA style. If
Yeah.
I have a double New England that's 10%, you don't have any clue there's even alcohol in the thing.
No.
Yeah.
Because it just
Yeah.
is so smooth and easy going. There's no alcohol burn or anything. And
For sure.
it-
For sure.
you don't realize until you drink two of them and you try to stand up that, oh crap, I just drank two 10% beers and now I can't stand up.
I'm in trouble. Yeah.
Well, I told you my brother did that with a couple of 120 IPAs, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He was like, oh, these are great. Sitting down, listening to some music, got into the 2 of them, 2.5, and stood up and woof. Yeah.
Mo and I have been there, done that with 120s. So we
Yeah.
actually, for his 40th birthday, went up to Dogfish
Mm.
for his 40th birthday. And we got a little bit wasted.
You enjoyed the
on
moment?
120.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were enjoying the moment.
It was a good
and,
celebration.
Yeah.
that was a little bit of a blurry night. I don't remember.
Good. Then you did it right. Well,
120s was one of my favorite back in the day. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Denny, fun fact about these guys too is the whole reason that I found out about Marker 48 was because of the work that I did at Zephyr Hills Brewing Company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They were the brainchild for the whole thing.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
So you've known Maurice and Tina since
I haven't known
Zephyr?
them. No,
Oh.
I've only known them like in person since the like Hop King Invitational
King?
a couple of weeks ago. But they were the ones that had the idea for the Founders Club that Zephyr Hills took a hold of. That I still have my T-shirt in somewhere around here.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys did a similar thing then, where you had people come in and
Yeah.
help build up the brewery. I don't want to. We're not on the brewery part yet. We're
I
still on
know,
your craft beer
but
journey. So
that's
Chris. You're bringing up.
Listen, I that's fine, but you know, I'm having lunch with one of my founders' friends this Friday. So
Okay.
Aw.
That's cool.
yeah,
So yeah, we had a great program with that. And I remember when Terry reached out from Zephyr Hills and was like, hey, would you mind if like we used like your idea for our, I was like, absolutely not. What do you want to know? Here, I'll send it all to you here. Take it, use it. Awesome.
Uh-oh.
Makes me happy. Like that's a great thing about breweries, right? Like all the Uh-oh.
it caught up.
Okay. There we go.
There we go. Sorry about that.
I think somebody was starting some YouTube on your place or something.
Or
probably
here.
our son. Yeah.
Yeah, either that or here.
Yeah.
I hear they're watching Schitt's Creek out in the living room. So so all right, well, let's jump back into a couple of these questions, guys, because then we can chat a little bit more about that too. Do you guys have a favorite beer style?
Right now, my favorite beer style is probably just a lager. Yeah. Yeah. Maurice?
Yeah. Lager?
Yeah.
I feel like I just messaged somebody who was chatting along with us. I said, I'm gonna have to come back up and get some more of this because I don't know if it gets distributed anywhere close to us, but I'd much rather come get it from you guys personally.
Aw.
But the lagers, I'm very much with you guys. It's been a reign of beer flavored beer over the last
Mhm.
year or so. I think.
Yeah, it's been we've been promoting. Beginning of every year, I say, okay, this year I'm not going to just drink IPAs all year. Not that I just drink those, but I'm going to focus more on other styles. And I do a great job of mixing up all the styles. But
Mhm.
for some reason, I just always end up drinking more IPAs than anything else. Why? Because there's so many more IPAs being brewed than
Yeah.
lagers and Scottish ales and brown ales and all the beer styles I love. It's just hard to get as many of those. And I drink a lot of my favorites, and then I mix in new beers that come out and stuff. But yeah, I always tend to drink more IPAs. I've always been an
What I
IPA.
love about lagers is they're so diverse. So you can have like the Marker Light,
Yeah.
which is like our Japanese rice lager. But then you also have like our Vienna lager, which
Mhm.
is like a more malty, rich, complex, like so much more depth in that
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah.
Almost going into that kind of dark beer like realm, but still a lager. So it's
Mhm.
got like clean and like you can just like really like the malts and the hops are just so like pronounced in that beer. Like so I love lager. I'm just like I'm loving lagers lately. Whether it's a Vienna lager or just a light lager, American light lager, like I'm just loving them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like I'm still probably in the IPA. I'm like with you, Denny. Like I'm in that IPA. Like if I'm
Yeah.
out and about and I'm at a restaurant or a bar, I'm usually in the pale ale.
Mhm.
You know, I still love hop. I love hops. So like I love just that that style of beer for sure.
Yeah.
But if I'm home or like I don't know, if I'm not having a meal or just sitting at a bar stool, I'm in that lager category as well.
Okay.
So but it could be from any kind of like we're doing some like dark lagers right now. We're doing all the way up to just the like German stuff, all the way to
Yeah.
American style things and anything in between. So
Yeah.
just I think that's the evolution of just being in the brewing world for a long time. Like you love all beer,
Mhm.
but you kind of got to pick and choose sometimes. Like you're gonna be drinking a bunch of beers all day. Like how you make that happen.
Yeah.
And definitely 4 to 6% center. Light lagers and honestly like even a lot of ale too, like cream ale and whatnot, like those lighter beers just feel better on you. So
Yeah.
that's like
Agreed.
yeah. So we're fans.
We're fans.
We're fans.
All right. Well, guys, think about it. First thing that pops into your head as far as the answer for this one goes. So at this moment, remember, first one that pops into your head. What brewery do you admire or inspires you guys?
Yeah. I know what Tina's
Spit it out.
Yeah.
She's thinking too hard.
There's a lot because
I
again,
don't know.
That first.
This is a tough one.
Spit it out. No judgment. Spit it
First thing that
out.
comes to your head.
I'm a huge fan of Woodwright Brewing in Dunedin. Again, I think that goes back to like my loving like the lagers and kind of that like those like clean beers, just like the traditional. I mean, you're talking about water, hops, yeast, and barley. Like that's, and Woodwright like is such an inspiration to me because they make like such good clean beers and German style. I love their beers. Like I definitely, that's probably they're my favorite Florida brewery just from the beers they make. And they're amazing people and I love their brewery.
Okay.
I love their story. I love that it's a female brewer. Like she's an inspiration to me. Her story is amazing. And so that's mine.
Perfect.
That's what comes to mind for me.
All right. Maurice, how about you?
So I look at breweries that are just grinding it out every day and like trying to make it happen. And I have some favorites for sure. But it's a very this business is hard. Like this is day in, day out is hard. So like to say I like, Seventh Son or Arcane or, TBBC, Coppertail,
Too hard to choose.
Like there's so many like guys are just like they're every day they get up, in the morning and they just like crush it every single day. And it's like I don't ever think of it that way. I don't ever think like this. I like this beer. I love Woodwright's story. I love Grant and Eunice. Like they are fantastic people. And I know like where Tina's heart is in there, like, and I'm with her there, and I love those guys. And it's cool to see them grow and do all the things they're doing. But there, there's also like these just like there's so many, like just Florida. You look at Florida, like so many breweries, like every day they're just making great beer, coming out, like trying everything they can to just like do the good work or whatever. And then you multiply that across the whole US, and it's mind-boggling how many breweries are out there just doing this stuff. And it's, at the end of the day, it's a business. You got to make money, like to keep the lights on and whatnot. But the component of just like having the beer, having like the community, all that behind it, like
Phillipsburg
Brewing, like going back to that, like just bringing that like community back. That's what got us into it.
They're probably our inspiration, like our real inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to not say a Florida brewery, but I don't want to name a Florida brewery because
because you don't want to. You're not you guys aren't the only ones that has tough time with this question, because everyone feels like they don't want to alienate anyone. But basically, we just want to find out, like, breweries that are succeeding, they're succeeding for a reason. And if you're successful, you're probably looking at other breweries that are successful or things that make you want to be successful, and you kind of mimic after that. So that's all the questions, just trying to find out, is there something right now that you're,
so I'll flip that around. I mean, there's some breweries like there's some breweries and I like obviously won't name them, but you see them and you're just like, that's not what I want to do.
No,
like,
exactly.
That's not where we want to be. So that's probably more, Denny and Chris, that's more of where like we go. Like that's, there, and there's not many of them, but there's some that you're just like, this is not where our heart is, or not the culture we want to like foster, or not the community we want to build. So we look at it like that angle, and I think that's probably the better way for like to build the craft beer community.
You see what you don't want to do. So
unfortunately that is a thing. Because there's so many of them. There's so many great, like, I'm sure you guys do this podcast with like so many people across the US or like Florida, whatever. There's so many cool people in the brewing industries, and to like try to really put your finger down on somebody that this is the best one, or
but Phillipsburg, I think would be our
I mean, in terms of
that's a good choice.
It's the inspiration.
Phillipsburg
that's probably
I mean, if you want to talk about Maurice and Tina sitting their asses in a bar stool year after year, and then finally one year sitting in their bar stools and going, we can do this. We could do this.
That's probably
we could do this. That's probably our inspiration.
And I hate that it's not a Florida brewery, but sorry, it's a Montana brewery. So
that's okay. I mean, I wish there were some Montana beers that we saw here regularly.
Well, maybe you'll get shout out Phillipsburg Brewery. Come on, guys. Down Tap the Craft podcast.
Yeah. I've never heard of them.
Love those guys.
I'd love to hear from them.
Their Haywire.
Yeah, Haywire is their Hefeweizen.
It's a
wheat beer. That's their
Haywire. It's great. Yeah. And they're one of the only few breweries in the country that have actually the so it's not like a can, it's like the
twist top.
Twist top.
Oh,
so somehow they got this. The canning, their canning line actually does the twist tops on it, so you can like unscrew the top. Like great people. One road light, one stoplight, actually like a blinking yellow light in the middle of there.
So talk about a cool brewery story. Like, not that it's our story, but it's such a small town, and it's literally in the middle of nowhere in Montana. And the town folk refer to the town as pre-brewery or post-brewery.
Wow.
Because pre-brewery, the town was literally about to be a ghost town for real. And this couple came and they started the brewery, and it turned the entire town around, literally. And so the locals like refer to the town as like, pre-brewery or post-brewery because that's how much the brewery changed the entire dynamics of the town.
Wow.
And again, talking about inspiration, like that was just an inspiration to us because where our brewery is where him and I grew up in. That's our hometown.
Yeah.
And it's where we're high school sweethearts. We went to high school there. We raised our family there. And we were like, there's so many things that our town could benefit from having a hometown brewery. And
Yeah.
it could be such a life-changing thing for Hernando County. And so that was one of the inspirations of wanting to start a brewery in Hernando County. It wasn't just about the beer. It was about the whole communal thing too.
Yeah. Building a community to allow the community to come together and share in enjoyment. Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
here, take this as a wolf kind of playing off of what you just said. Melissa Spiller said, Marker 48 has definitely turned our town up. Laura Garcia Carranza said, it has created a family. So you guys are doing the exact same thing.
Right.
Denny, if you ever make it up here, and now I've only been to Marker 48 once. There was a huge event going on. I wasn't sure who was an employee and who was just there, and they just happened to have a Marker 48 shirt on. I was like, can you tell me? No, wait, you're going to the bar to get a beer. Yeah, it's definitely an amazing culture. And
that is true.
I know it was just at the concert the other night, guys. It was a crazy night, but even at the beer event, it was like, do you work? No, you don't work there. You're just here. You're here supporting, and you've got a logo on there. So
I think we have like five friends, customers, whatever you want to call them, like that have like tattoos now.
No kidding. If any of those people are watching, can you send us a picture of it?
Melissa,
yeah.
Can you send us a picture on our Facebook page?
No, Victor,
yeah.
There's
Ted.
It's kind of wild.
It's kind of like
it's a humbling experience for sure.
It really is. It really can be, because it's like if I go over to Gasparilla Pizzeria where Chance and all those guys are, like, I was up on a ladder the other day helping them fix something. Just messing with something on the TV. And it's just, I love that kind of community that you can have just because you guys make some great beer and you have an amazing culture there. I love that.
That's it. We have the best customers ever. We call ourselves a family. We're the family because we're like the friends that chose each other to be family.
Yeah.
We weren't born together, but we're like friends that chose to be together. So for sure.
Oh, and Kevin even tagged Chance in that one. So guys, let's get on to my last question. Is there a brewery, beer, or style that is no longer around that you wish would make a comeback?
So look, the West Coast IPA is like, it's coming back hard. Like that's the one.
It never went away. It never went away.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, maybe that like down here, like I mean, Hazy's, New England, like that was like all the, I mean, it never went away from me either, Denny. Like it was still here. Like I still drank them. But I feel like that's coming back. Like I feel like you're seeing some breweries like brewing like cool West Coast style stuff right now, and just like putting it back into the mainstream, market.
What do you think? Do you think that lager is making a comeback? It seemed like for so many years, lager was not being brewed as much by craft brewers, and now I see so many craft brewers doing it.
Yeah, you're seeing it definitely in the tap rooms, and I think that's a good thing. It's hard to infiltrate the market on that, in the distribution world. So if you want to get it into bars and restaurants, it's hard because there's we got big competitors there. So but you do see that that happening. So I like seeing it in the tap room, and happening like to go package and whatnot, and from the breweries happening. I don't know where and when it, like, I don't think it ever, maybe not ever, but I don't think it's gonna be a hard sell to get it to take a Bud Light tap.
Yeah.
That's probably the
Yeah,
first time I'll say that word in
Yeah.
this podcast, but it's like hard to take that, or convert, a bar that has, a lot of domestics in it,
Mm-hmm.
take that off and just put a craft beer version, of that beer on there. So,
Okay.
because it's price point, it's
Yeah.
availability, and
Yeah.
and these bars and restaurants, they have to make money, and a
Mhm.
lot of them are driven by that revenue dollar. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, at our scale, I mean, it's hard to
Compete.
compete with that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just plain and simple. Economics are
Yeah.
an issue with us. So that's where craft comes in. So is when you have the customer that knows the value of craft and can appreciate that, then they're willing to spend that extra dollar,
Yeah.
or two
Yeah.
to have that beer. So
Yeah.
it's happening, I mean, it's a slow burn for sure, but it is happening. But I don't know where that ends, where the equilibrium really like happens, but we'll just keep trying to do it. We'll keep brewing good beers and put them out there, and hopefully the consumer chooses them more than non, US beers.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
local beers. So yeah.
Well,
kinda how I
Kevin
see
said the
it.
black IPA, Denny. This
that's
guy's your buddy, right?
no, because I was so
There.
happy when the black IPAs started coming back, because I love that style, and just like I
Oh,
couldn't
yeah.
believe it crashed, because so many breweries back when it first was released, they didn't know how to brew a good one.
Yeah.
And that really hurt the style. And then when it made a comeback, the breweries that had a comeback made it correctly and made them taste like
Mhm.
they're a black IPA, like an IPA with some a little bit of dark malt in there, which is fantastic. And I like the fact that breweries aren't brewing them all year round. They're brewing them in like a seasonal type thing. Like it only comes out this one time of the year. So now
Mhm.
everyone's looking forward to, oh, this is when that black IPA comes out. And now then it sells out like really quick.
Yeah.
Like Firestone Walker's Wookie Jack, right? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that beer is so good. It only comes out at a small window of time. So everyone has to go and get it before it's gone, because you got to get your Wookie Jack in.
Yeah. Yeah. We love black IPAs too.
Yeah.
We've done them.
Yeah, the styles are like that style is great too. But yeah, I mean, it's like you said, you got to build that kind of, like they're building that awareness of it, and then people come in, drink it. I don't know that I drink black IPAs all year long,
No.
but
No.
there's definitely a season for it, and
Yeah.
I love the style. for
My
sure.
pick is barrel aged beers. I feel like barrel aged beers, again, I love those big beers. And like less and less breweries are starting to do barrel aged beers. Have
Yeah.
you noticed that? Like it
Uh,
used to be, I mean, think about it, like 10 years ago,
Mhm.
barrel aged beers was like everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything, everywhere. That was all you saw, like on breweries, like people would be lined up down the street at these big breweries.
Yeah.
And now it's like you're seeing less and less and less and less and less,
It's because
which I
COVID ruined that.
understand
for us.
why. Yeah. And I understand, like from a brewery standpoint, like it's expensive, like to go and source the barrels, to get like freshly like dumped barrels from a distillery is expensive, to to take the time, and you're sitting on this beer for
Yeah.
so long. And
Yeah,
I mean,
for
it's
months.
just, yeah, everything about it like is so much more. But like at the end of the day, like I love a really good, well done barrel aged stout,
Yeah.
or barley wine, or
Yeah.
something like that. And you're starting to see
Ooh.
them less and less. So I hope it's not something that like goes away completely, because I love it, and I think like when they're done well, like they're awesome. But I understand why they're expensive, and why less and less breweries are able to do them. I get it.
It just means you have to make your own barrel aged beers for you to drink, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Good thing we have a basement.
I was gonna
in
say, they got a
Florida,
spot
and we're
for it.
able to do that.
Get your oil changed
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
Try.
All right. We'll hold off on the grilling for a few minutes. Let me give a plug to some of our Patreon sponsors here, because this show is brought to you in part by our satisfied Patreon supporters like Mike Allen, Bill Slimmer, Kevin Amanda Argauer, Mark Reedy, Mike Blanchard, Tara Carlson, Jim Kutzel, and Alex Fuchs, who are our virtual producers, and Tom Byrne, Jeff Seiler, Johan Halberg, Shalom Mossad, Mark Church, and Eric Grownley, who want to buy us a virtual beer. If you enjoy the content we provide, we invite you to support the show by toasting your host, or buying us a virtual beer, or even becoming a virtual producer. You can explore the options on our support page by visiting patreon.com/tapthecraft. All right. Well, we're going to go into a little bit of feedback real quick, give you guys a little bit of break from talking. We had a voicemail. We have a voicemail line that we love hearing from our listener. And we put out a request last show because we hadn't had a voicemail for a while. And sure enough, that night, late that night, after we finished recording, we had a voicemail from one of our great listeners, Mark Reedy. So Chris, are you ready to cue up that voicemail?
Ready to go.
All right, let's hear it from Mark.
All right.
Hey fellas, it's Mark Reedy calling from Monterey, California. Your friend and Patreon supporter. Just listening to your last episode, and you said call. You haven't had a message since September or something like that. So here we go. Not a whole lot to say, but I'm going to leave a message. I've been studying for the beer certification for the beer server exam. A little bit harder than a lot of people led me to believe. So I am trying to cram as much in my head as possible, and thanks to you guys providing that knowledge or the resources to get ready for this. And let's see what else. You guys mentioned, I think in the last episode, somebody perhaps you would like to speak to the Dust Bowl game. If you need any assistance with that, please let me know. Still enjoying the shows and still learning a lot. I'm looking forward to learning about the English pubs tonight. Since I'm calling midway through, I knew if I put it off, I wouldn't call. Seeing that it's already about 1 a.m. here in California. So hope you guys are well. And there's your message. Good night now.
Well, thank you, Mark, for leaving that message at 1 a.m. I appreciate that. And I'm sorry to hear that the Cicerone certification is a little bit tougher than we let on. I haven't done it myself, so I couldn't really speak to how hard it is, but I imagine it is probably not as easy as we may seem. But and also, yes, Dust Bowl Brewing, we'd love to have them on as well. So for Tina, Mark is he serves the beer at the Dust Bowl Brewing in California, in Monterey. So if he can get
we'll have to go see him.
Yeah. But thank you, Mark. We appreciate that. And anyone else who wants to leave us a voicemail, you can do that easy by calling 208-536-3359. Or if it's easier for you to remember, 208-53-ODDLY. Leave us that voicemail and you can have your voice heard on the air. And if you're too shy to talk to us on the phone, you can write us an email with your questions or comments at tapthecraft@gmail.com, or on Twitter and Instagram. Just add us at tapthecraft. And of course, Chris would love to interact with you on Facebook at facebook.com/tapthecraft. And don't forget to visit our webpage at tapthecraft.com. We also have a Discord server for the community to interact with one another in a more private space reserved just for the Tap to Craft community. You can get the link on the top of the Tap to Craft website, or go to our Linktree site where all of our links to socials can be found at linktr.ee/tapthecraft. Chris, we're running a little long. I don't want to take too long. So let's go ahead and skip the Untap the Craft session.
Okay.
And let's go into
drink more beer.
Yeah, let's get into, because my glass has been empty for a while. Let's get our second tasting, which will be the Pleasure Dome, your Vienna lager.
All the way to the Pleasure Dome. I don't remember who I was talking to when I was at the brewery with you guys, but I had this running joke with someone the whole night that I was there. Is this the Pleasure Dome? Is this where the Pleasure Dome is? I want to say it might have been Kevin, but I don't remember who it was.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
I'm pouring this one a little better. A little bit ahead.
The Pleasure Dome is our Vienna lager. And so for those of you that don't know, our brewery is located in Pewaukee, Florida, which is a first magnitude spring in Florida. And underneath our brewery for miles and miles and miles are literally underwater caverns, springs. And so last year we had the opportunity of actually doing a tap for a cause beer, which we do like once a quarter. We do a tap for a cause beer, which means we brew a beer specifically for a local nonprofit, give them all the proceeds from that beer. And last year we did for Karst Underwater Research. So these guys actually go, they're incredible group of guys who,
And girls.
who go, thank you, who go, underwater, and they're cave diving explorers basically. And they, just map out the underground, waters, and caverns under Florida. And, it's incredible the things they do. If you get a chance, look it up. It's Karst, Karst Underwater Research. And, yeah, so Pleasure Dome. So some of the beer names that we name our beers are kind of inspired from their names that they name these underwater caverns, because sometimes when they're underwater scuba diving and they find these enormous caverns underwater that are just huge, like 5 football fields, huge. And they're incredible. And so they name them because they're the ones discovering them. And so Pleasure Dome was actually the name of one of the big caverns that these guys found and named. And so we just we love these guys. We watch their work. We're like infatuated with the things that they find, and we love what they do because they represent, really caring about our water in Florida and what goes on like underneath our grounds. And so obviously water is one of the most important ingredients in beer. So we're super, concerned with what goes on with that. So yeah, we love these guys. We support them. We love them. And Pleasure Dome, we made last year to kind of support them, and it's just stuck. We've done really good with this beer. We love it. Everybody loves it. It's one of my favorite beers. And we're super proud of it. Yeah. So,
and for the record, they're underwater, like they go down a hole that's like, barely can fit their gear through, 400 feet down and 4,000 feet back under, first
Oh my
8 to 10 hours they're down there.
Wow.
And they have rebreathers, and like the technology is just amazing. Like that, but it's just the group is like it's a really and there's similar folks that do this throughout Florida and like the Southeast and anywhere there's ground aquifer or karst type features. But just became friends with these folks, and just their story is amazing. So we're like Tina said, big supporters of water quality, and anything we can do to help that initiative to make sure our groundwater stays safe and quality for, not only for the brewery. That's good business to have good water at our brewery, but I turn my tap on here at home and I want clean water to come out. So, so like they're doing really good work. So, super proud of those folks.
Oh, good.
It's Karst Underwater Research. Check
and
it out.
Maurice totally fangirls over them.
Yeah.
We will admit that.
I love those guys. Like,
yes,
they're definitely superheroes.
You have some nerd moments, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. We're both certified scuba divers, both born and raised in Florida, and we both dove since we were teens. But like what these people do is a whole nother
Next level, huh?
Yeah. As Maurice said, and I'm just going to say it. I don't know if you have kids on here, but
Nope,
it's
go
kind of
for it.
late. Their balls are so big. He says their balls are so big. I don't know how they can get them through those little tiny holes. That's what Maurice says. I'm just saying. I'm
I-
paraphrasing Maurice.
I have to agree because there's no way you get me to do it. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's beautiful too. Like the underwater video that they put out and like how like
Yeah.
it's a different world under there. So they just
Oh.
put out this video and educational material that it's just magnificent. It really is.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
we're just super big fans of these guys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if they'll ever hear like we tell this to their face, like, you know, like
Yeah.
how do you do this? It's amazing. Thank you, like all
Yeah.
that stuff. But whatever we can do to support them, we do.
Yeah.
And I think everybody should because water is, I mean,
So
like,
without the good clean water, we couldn't do the nice clean loggers. So
True.
that's kind of, we
Yeah.
wanted to do a logger to kind of celebrate them and what they do. Because again, you can't kind of hide behind the loggers, you know, you can't, you know, it's got to be really clean. It's got to be good ingredients. So, I mean, our water where we are is one of our best features. I mean,
Oh.
Wiki Wachi, like, our water is very similar profile wise to like some of the German with the limestone and and things like that. So we kind of wanted a beer that kind of celebrated that and kind of showcase that. So that's why
That's
we
what
chose that. Yeah.
Nice.
Kevin said you guys have aged a beer in a spring before.
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
have a
That's our
few.
spring release. Yeah.
A few.
Yeah. So we haven't done that in a few years just because logistically it's a little hard. So the first year we did that, we actually had a private spring that we were able to secure, a family that owned a private spring, and we were able to do it there. The last couple of years that hasn't been available to us, but we want to try to do it again. But yeah, we kind of wanted to push the envelope and see what happens when you take a barrel full of beer and put it 50 feet underwater, and with the pressure and the spring water and what happens. Like, we really were just honestly curious, like, what's going to happen? Is this going to be good? Is it going to be bad?
That's my favorite saying in the world. There's only one way to find out.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
only one way to find out. Yep. So we did it and it turned out amazing. It turned out so good. So we were like, okay, this is pretty cool. Yeah. So
It's a
So what-
lot of work.
it is a
What
lot
was-
of work.
Yeah. What was different? what was different about the beer that was in the barrel in the spring than
Like-
one that wasn't? Can you guys recall?
Yeah.
So we did like kind of a like a control group too, and we've actually been we've had other interviews on this beer on like why we did it and how it worked out. But so the control we just obviously left at the brewery, whatever,
Mhm.
fermented normal, put in a barrel.
In a barrel. Yeah.
And mainly because if we screwed up the spring beer, we would have something, But so we took I think like it was 2 wine barrels, so it was like 50 like 100 gallons, so maybe three barrels, so to
Mhm.
say. And we took the kegs down, to the spring, and we pumped them into the barrels, and then capped the barrels, and then sunk the barrels at we said it was 48 feet. I don't know, it was like 45
Give or
to 50
take.
feet.
Yeah, it was around.
Yeah.
there.
And we let it sit there, and so the water was a little warmer, like 74, 73, 74 spring water. And so let it down there for like maybe 2-3 weeks. And
It was a little long.
so yeah, maybe like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And brought it up. Beer was fine. Like, it was not like no weird off flavors per se, but you could definitely tell like it was diluted a little bit. Like, you could taste a little bit difference in like the characteristics of just like the mouthfeel and whatever.
Mhm.
I loved it.
But
think it was awesome.
probably the it had a little bit of like re-fermentation because it was like a little bit warmer. So like some things happened there. It was pressurized a little bit. So yeah, like the characteristics did change, and
Mhm.
it was a cool experiment. We did, I think, 2 at WordSync, and then we
Mhm.
did 1 out at a spring out in Wiki Wachi. So we've done 3 of them,
Yeah.
and all 3 of them were like, it was a cool thing, but
They
to
were
get-
all different.
to
They
get
were
like
all
100
different.
to get like 100 bottles of beer, I mean, it was just like
Yeah.
so worth it.
Yeah.
And
It was really good. I personally think the spring, like, you could definitely tell a difference, like, between what we had at the brewery, the same beer in barrels and what was in the water. I don't know. To me, it just tasted like a little smoother. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, a little, because they were always like hoppy beers, like double IPAs. And I feel like the spring ones kind of took some of the edge off, like the hops, like the bitterness, I guess. It kind of mellowed out the bitterness a little bit for some reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like Maurice said, because it kind of was diluted a little bit or what, but it was, to me, it was amazing. So
Yeah.
I mean, I
It was
do have
lot
a
of fun.
bathtub
It's a
that's
lot of
about
fun.
48 inches deep. That might help.
Yeah, that would work.
we wanted to try to do it at Weeki Wachee Springs State Park, but it's a state park now. And they were like, yeah, it's a state park. And
Alcohol,
state alcohol. Yeah. So, but
We're still working on it.
you know, you never know.
You guys have enough you guys have enough springs near you. There's
We
definitely
do.
some place you could get into.
Yeah, for sure. But we have our alien beer.
Go on.
Okay, talk about an alien beer. What is an alien beer?
That's coming up soon. So really cool story, and I won't go crazy because I know we're getting late, but it's called the John Reeves Incident. We do it every year. So if you get the chance when you hang up, just Google John Reeves, Brooksville. So Brooksville back in the 60s was actually known as the UFO capital of the world.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, true story.
True story. And there was a resident here called John Reeves that swears he made contact with aliens, and they actually took him up in a spaceship and took him to the dark side of the moon. And some really, really, so like, again, Maurice and I,
No.
uh-oh.
Boy. No, we're good.
Oh, there we go.
We're good.
There he is.
Okay.
There's
So,
John.
Well, that's not John.
oh, that's
That's not
not John.
John?
That's from our
Oh,
party.
okay.
That's from the party.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I tried to be cool. Look what happened.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No, he passed away years ago, but it actually growing up here, like we both heard stories of John Reeves, and he lived to be like 100 years old. Like people say he like aged in reverse, like some really crazy stories, but basically where he claims he found the alien ship is legit, literally where the brewery stands to this day.
Oh,
Yeah.
So Highway 50 used to be obviously all woods, there was nothing there. And basically where the brewery is now is where he supposedly saw the aliens for the first time and befriended them, etc. So we just through the years, we knew this story and we wanted to kind of pay homage to it. So when we open, we once a year, we do a beer called the John Reeves Incident. And we do experimental hops. It's always an
Okay.
IPA.
Okay.
Sometimes we've done black IPAs.
okay.
And but we always do kind of experimental IPAs and hops and yeast and things like that. But it's a really fun beer that we do once a year. But what's really cool about it is we invite people from the community that knew John Reeves or have stories about John Reeves to come and kind of talk about it the day of our party. And we have had some really, really cool, interesting people through the years, like things that Maurice and I are like, wow, okay, this is kind of like taking on its own like little like story, like pretty cool, like things that have kind of blown our minds through the years. So yeah, it's a fun event. Yeah.
And everybody dresses up like an alien, and like,
Yeah, it's fun.
it's
It's
Going
fun.
going
It's
to
awesome.
Amazon right now.
I'm
It's
telling
a
you,
pretty great event.
we haven't even got to the all the questions we have for the brewery, and you guys have already impressed me with so much that makes you guys special that I've got to come visit because
You should.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
I've
Yeah.
been trying to get him to Tampa for years now, and I was trying to
Well,
get up
COVID
to,
happened.
well,
so
no,
that was a problem.
I tried to go up to Boise in April of 2020. Guess what happened?
Oh
Yeah, that
no.
happened.
Yeah.
So,
I know exactly what happened. Yeah.
yeah, we didn't drink enough beer. That's
but-
what
Well,
But
do
to be-
some Chris, just do some rapid fire stuff. Like we'll knock them out.
All right.
Oh, we will in a minute. But first, let's talk about the beer real quick.
Okay. Oh yeah, beer. Yeah.
We're gonna drink it all.
Yeah. Well, I've been drinking it. I'm trying to let it warm up a little bit because I found that as it warms up, the complexity of the flavors comes through a lot more, and you get different things out of it. But I like this beer, and it has some caramel, and at moments I get a little slight caramel. I get some like dark fruit like figs or dates, and then even some tobacco notes at different times. This is what I've experienced when drinking this beer. Very like a lot of stuff going on, but none of them are like in your face super strong. It's just kind of like subtle things that come out in this beer that it just makes it enjoyable. And every sip I get a little bit something different because it's warmed up a little bit more, and super drinkable. I mean, this is really easy to drink, not too sweet. It's a lager, but it's not a sweet lager, and it's again, and clean as well, right? There's no off flavors in this thing. So I just want to say another really well done lager.
Thank you. This is one of our favorites for sure.
Yeah.
Love it.
You guys won a bronze medal for this one?
We did. Yeah. Yep.
A bronze medal.
Where was this one?
The last
FPG. Yeah, so Florida.
The Florida
Brewers Guild?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. One comment before we get into the brew bus segment where we're going to talk. I want to say that one of the beers in the package that Chris sent me wasn't really a beer. It was one of your seltzers.
Oh yeah.
The Blue Lightning or
Yeah.
whatever it was. I have not to that day before I had it. I hadn't had a hard seltzer. Yeah, that one there. It's blending into this.
And this one's going to be hard to see too.
There's Victor's tattoo.
But I had held back from drinking hard seltzer because to me, it just seemed like it was something that people just want to get drunk would drink, right? It wasn't something that people enjoy flavor and beer and stuff would drink. But since Chris sent me two of them, and I was curious because I saw he took a video of his. I'm like, okay, I've got to have this, and saw how blue it was. I opened it, poured it, and I drank it, and I was very pleasantly surprised that I didn't hate seltzer, at least my first one, because I was under the impression it was going to be like super sweet and hard for me to drink. I don't like super sweet things. But in reality, it was very, very tasteful. In fact, I gave it a 5 cap rating because I never had one, and it was the best one I had. So if I were going to have seltzers from now, I'm going to be judging it against the one that I had from you guys.
Well, thank you.
Well done. Again, I understand that in this day and age, people are looking for these type of alternatives to beer, that people don't like beer, maybe they don't like wine or whatever. They need something else to drink, and people enjoy these hard seltzers because they don't taste like alcohol, and they can partake with their friends. And so I understand the need for it, but I also understand that these things aren't easy to make either, right? I think everyone thinks it's just like, throw some sugar in a kettle and ferment it or whatever. But from all I've heard, brewing seltzers and having them so they don't have off flavors or don't have, things that are problems is kind of a challenge. And I honestly, I didn't taste anything bad. I mean, it was good. It tasted good. There's no sharp flavor. There was nothing that I thought might be an off thing. Is this something that took you guys a while to perfect as well?
Yeah. So seltzers are funny because there's no protein, like, it's fermented sugar, just straight sugar. So there's no malt in there. And yeast reacts a little bit different with that kind of fermented sugar. So, so we used to have like a yeast, package that we would ferment with, and you'd have like at the end, you'd have like some yeast flavors and like not necessarily off flavors, but you're not getting that kind of clean, just fermented sugar, dextrose or whatever it is kind of flavor. So I think Omega or one of our yeast providers like actually has like a very very targeted yeast strain or a combination of yeast strains that look at all the phases of fermentation for seltzers and like deals with that. So like you have like the primary and then like the lag and all these different parts of it. So it has different parameters in there that make sure that the fermentation happens as it should. And at the end, you're like, you get to the part you need to be. If you just threw like in like beer yeast or whatever, it's not going to work. Or champagne yeast, like you would, for champagne or wine or something, it's not going to do the same. So the technology from some of the yeast manufacturers are really helped provide like that, like what you're saying, that clean taste and like, there's not no byproducts there. And just like dialing that in like takes time and like making sure. And it's a little bit out of the normal beer fermentation schedule to make it happen. So you got to kind of change the think how you look at your tank space and whatnot.
Yeah.
But once you get it dialed in, now it's just a procedure. But there's definitely a little learning curve in it.
Okay.
And we
have a great base now.
Yeah, a good base now. So
now we like pretty much any seltzer we do. Brewers, Chad, Drew, Sean, the guys, they knock it out of the park. So they do all kinds of different seltzers, and pretty much anything we do just kills it. But I think what makes the Blue Lightning one so special is just the color, the color.
The color is so
Oh my
wonderful.
gosh.
My daughter almost drank it. She loves anything blue.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, that looks good. Let me have some."
Yeah, if you're sitting
Go
in a
ahead.
bar and like somebody pours that, they're like, "What's that?" Like it's just like, So that's been a huge seller for us. So
yeah, we had our grandson over that night when I popped it open, and he saw it. He's like, "Ooh, Grandpa, Papa, what's that?" I said,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is not good for 6-year-olds."
Yeah. For real,
But I did enjoy it, and I have one more can. He sent me
Awesome.
2 cans, so I'll enjoy that second can as well. But I just want to say, for my first experience, I was very impressed.
Thank you.
And no other seltzer is probably going to hold up to what you guys did. So
well, appreciate that. There are a lot of great, again, so breweries nowadays, I feel like we have to be beverage, like almost beverage companies, like you're looking at, we look at producing beer, great, as good a beer as we can absolutely produce, but you got to have those other alternatives. So the seltzers,
if you want to stay in business.
the seltzers, the ciders, like any, and it's for a variety of reasons. Some people don't like beer. Like, I don't understand that, but they do.
Well, some people
that was me.
Or some people
Health-wise.
can't like beer.
Health-wise,
that's true.
Yes,
That's true.
Yeah.
So there's like all these reasons. So I don't,
Yeah.
Tina and I've always said like we want to make a product that's quality, whatever that is, and that we want to pay homage to the German styles and like the 1,000-year-old beers or meads or whatever that are out there, certainly, because that's where this all came from. But we got to have alternatives that keep people in our tap rooms and keep people drinking our beers wherever they are, or seltzers and
Or ciders.
and
Or wines.
and
Or liquor.
yeah. So that's where our head's always been, and and just producing a quality product.
Yeah.
So that's the core fundamental.
Okay.
And seltzer, that seltzer is great. Like, we pound them down when we're going out on the boat. It's a fun.
That's my lawnmower seltzer.
Yes. Yeah. But it had some decent alcohol content too, right? I don't remember what it was, but it was pretty high for what I was expecting. I thought it'd be lower than that.
Yeah, it comes with
6%.
with a warning label for sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get into the Brew Buzz real quick. And the Brew Buzz is devoted to discussing various beer-related topics. And this week, as we did already mention, we're going to learn about Marker 48 Brewing. Now, this is what I got from your limited stuff out there. You do have a website. which I got some information from, but what you have to say around the webs is it's a full production brewery located in Hernando County, Florida, specializing in Florida-inspired handcrafted beers brewed in the heart of Weeki Wachee, large tasting room, outdoor beer garden, and one of Florida's only true barrel aging cellars. And tours are available on Sundays, and local food trucks are featured throughout the Wednesday through Sunday week. Now, first off, I have to ask, and you already kind of hinted at this, please explain the statement of one of Florida's only true barrel aging cellars.
I don't think it's one of them. I think it's the only.
The only?
Maybe. I don't know that.
I don't know. Nobody's ever come out and said, and if they did, I mean, we'd be fine sharing that, accolade with them. But I think we're the only brewery in Florida that has.
As far as I know, yeah.
So has the cellar.
Yeah.
So we're a converted oil
changing
So-
garage.
Oh,
So, yeah, so we literally have a basement.
So where you would drive over to
yeah.
get your oil changed, and you'd have like the people up underneath you,
Mhm.
literally in the underground area, like changing your oil and doing all kinds of stuff. So that's the building that we took over. So back in the, like, I want to say early 90s, that building was built, and they built these. So up until literally the day that we signed the lease to take over the building, it was a garage. All
wow.
those years, it was a garage, a functioning garage. So when we went to look at the space, so going back to like the history of us and deciding we wanted to open a brewery, we had a few like requirements that Maurice and I knew we wanted. One of them was a self-standing building, like like not in like a strip plaza or something. Nothing against that.
Yeah.
But we just knew we kind of wanted like a self-standing building. And we knew we wanted an area that we could turn into like a big beer garden area that was
Mhm.
important for us. So when we found this building, it was self-standing, but it was huge. It was like 5,000 square feet. And we walked
Wow.
in, and it was literally like the people that had been in it had just left, like disappeared overnight. Like there was cars in the lift still.
Oh, geez.
There was like a half smoked cigarette in the ashtray, a half written checkout on the desk. I swear. It was so crazy. It was so creepy.
The aliens
cops
got
came
him.
and cleared it-
Yes.
or the aliens.
aliens
The
got 'em, yeah.
aliens, yeah, they came and just like abducted them like midday, like 2:00. They were like, all right, let's take all these people. Like, yeah. So like we walk in, and Maurice's first thing is, first off, this place is way too big. Way too big.
I'm an idiot.
Second of all, what are we gonna do?
I'm a complete dumb.
Maurice is like, second of all, what are we going to do with these big holes in the ground? Because there's like these two big holes that people would like drive over to get their oil changed. And I was like, I don't know. I think it's great. I think we could turn this into a great brewery. Maurice is like, I don't know. I'm going to need a little more convincing. So, it took me a little time, but I convinced him. Yeah. And
Okay.
here we are today.
Okay, good. That was, I appreciate that. So we're going to go through, we'll try to shotgun these really quick. First off, I'll tell you which ones you've already answered. How did Marker 48 Brewing start? You kind of answered that with your inspiration and just decide, you know what, we need to have a brewery at this, in our hometown. But you didn't answer how you came across the name Marker 48. Where'd that come from?
So that was, so we're both, again, born and raised Floridians. And so we both love everything water. Like we both scuba dive certified. We both fish. Like we love Florida, and we love the coast. And so we had been coming up to like the Citrus County area, fishing this one particular area for years. And probably about 16 years ago, there's an area in Citrus County that him and I actually bought a little tiny, I'm going to say island, but don't think the wrong thing.
The plane.
Yeah, no, not like that. Like not like, don't think like, tropical drinks in your hand. Like it's like old Florida. Like it's literally a swampland. And there's this little tiny shed on it. And but we bought it and kind of turned it into a little fish camp. Because again, that's what we love. But it's off of a channel marker 48. in
Okay.
Homosassa. So, and it's always just been a really special place to Maurice and I. So when we were trying to decide on a brewery name, we wanted it to be something that was special to us, but also had like local ties and also had like some meaning and things like that. So we were going through crazy names, and trying to pick a brewery name is so hard, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So we had come up with tons of names, and it was like, nope. Already taken. Nope.
Lawsuit.
Yeah.
this, that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So we're sitting at dinner one night, just Maurice and I, and I'm like, what channel marker is our little island off of? And he was like, I think it's 48. I'm like, what about Marker 48 Brewing? And he was like, I like that. So we had like a little group text, like with all our close friends and family. And we were like, what do you guys think about the name Marker 48 for a brewery name? And everybody was like, I love it. It's awesome.
That's
It's
so
perfect.
awesome.
So that was it. Yeah.
Okay. That's perfect. Thank you for
Yeah.
that.
it was- So,
Oh, go ahead, Maurice.
no, I was gonna say, so, yeah, the island is just definitely a swampland.
Yeah. Don't think it's fancy or
It's not where the
We say
future
that,
No,
but,
no,
oh
not-
my
the
God.
future
no.
production
I don't want
facility is
people
gonna
getting the
be?
wrong idea. It's not like private jets landing there or anything like that.
All right. Now you did explain how you ended up in Wikiwachi, because that's your home area. So
Yeah.
we won't worry about that. But what was your initial business plan, and how did it evolve over the years? What was your initial goal when you were going to open this brewery? Maurice obviously thought it was going to be a lot smaller, because he said, wow, this is way too big. So
Yeah.
he probably had an idea of what your business plan was, but you may have a different one. And then how did it evolve to what it is now?
Yeah, I mean, I think our idea of the brewery was the same. I mean, we were always communal driven.
Mhm.
So having a local support, having folks that like just were very much behind the beer and behind the idea of the brewery was always important to us.
Mhm.
So whether it was big or small, like that really wasn't like a thought, but just having that support was like, the community,
Yeah.
good beer. I think it was number one. Like that was the ground floor. I mean, you can have good beer, but if you don't have community, you don't have the staff to support it, and you don't have the environment to really foster those two other things, then it just doesn't work. So or it works for a little while, but if you have all three, it's a recipe for like success. So we wanted to put the love that we had with beer into that, and make sure that the folks that came into the brewery were and we struggled with that early on. I mean, we had to call the herd, so to say, in Hernando County to make sure that the folks that were coming into our establishment were like the people we wanted.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, that was a thing, so like we really
Yeah. If I had $1 for every time somebody would come in
Don't
and
say
say,
don't say it.
yeah, do you have can I
Can
get
I get a Bud
it's like,
Light?
Chris said it, not me.
But
Not me.
now you can say, well, you know what? I've got something better.
Exactly.
got this
Shit, I
right
can't.
Which actually, the first year we were open, it's funny. There was all these other breweries like in the Tampa Bay area that we admired, like we talked about earlier, that were making amazing like IPAs and sour beers and crazy awesome things, right? And like when we first opened, not that we got a lot, but the few like true craft beer people that we would have come in were kind of like disappointed and would give us kind of crappy reviews.
Really?
Because really we focused the first year when we opened on very, very, very basic beers. We had, our Irish Red, which we still have to this day. We had a brown ale, we had a cream ale, we had one IPA, and we had our stout. Really, that was it. Like very, very basic beers, because we were the first brewery in Hernando County, and 90% of people coming into our brewery had never
Never.
even like walked in a craft brewery or had a
Yeah.
craft beer in their entire life. So we were really trying to be very conservative, like in the craft beer
Yeah.
department. So we didn't want to scare anybody away. We wanted to kind of ease them into like, yeah, this is what craft beer is, you know? And for the few people that we did have come in that were true like craft beer, you know, folks, which is great, they kind of dogged us because they were like, oh, walked in and they didn't have any sours, they didn't have any this, they didn't have any that. It was like, well, okay, but like give
What
us a
about-
little bit of a break. Like
Yeah.
just put yourself in our shoes for just a minute, you know, like, yeah. So it was kind of hard to like the craft beer community, like as far as like consumers, it was a little like tough, like
Yeah.
in the first year we were open because they were kind of a little rough on us. But like from our perspective, it was just us trying to like ease our
Yeah.
community into what craft beer was, because literally the first year was all people like, can I have a Bud Light? Can I have a Miller Lite? What do you mean you don't have that? I don't understand.
We're not a
I
bar.
don't
We're a
understand.
brewery.
Yeah. I don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay. Well, I'm glad I understand what your plan was, and you were just trying to ease the whole community into
Yeah.
what a brewery was. And these people coming in from outside, they didn't know what they're talking about, because they can, if they can't appreciate the beers you were making and judge them for what they were, then they really shouldn't be. They should just go on to the next brewery that can provide what they want. But
yeah, for sure.
I mean, I appreciate breweries that go out and make a good brown ale. You know, do the core beers of stouts and browns and maybe a wheat beer and an IPA. One IPA is good enough.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need to have 6 IPAs and then 2 other things, you know, which I find in a lot of breweries these days. It's all hoppy stuff and very little different things, because that's what sells. But no, I think you guys did good. So now if I go looking through your event schedule, it seems like you have, like, of the 5 days a week that you're open, 3 of those are devoted to having some kind of a musical thing going on. Was that part of the game plan to make it that much of an event?
Yep. Absolutely. So again, I feel like our county was kind of missing that.
Okay.
And like, whether it's local, like artists, like being like painting, drawing, sculpting, or musicians, that was always something that Maurice and I wanted to foster. Because again, going back to like our trips in the RV, like some of our favorite breweries that we visited throughout the country, fostered that, like local, the musicians, the artists, the, you know, hanging local art on their walls, like, you know, just that kind of stuff. Like we both love that so much. Again, this is our like county, this is our hometown that we grew up in. And we're like, you know, if that fosters those people and like helps them get to the next level of their life, then great, you know? So that was always something like in our, you know, business plan early on that we wanted to do. And, again, we've been kind of dogged on that too, which is crazy. Like other businesses, like, oh, you're not a real brewery because you're focusing on like the music instead of like the beer. And it's like, why can't you do both? You can do both. You can do both. It's okay to do both. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, yeah. So
like we've always wanted to have like beer is bringing people together.
Yeah.
Like I would rather be in our beer garden partying with like 250 of our closest friends, like with a band that's just like crushing it and like just having a great time than sitting, you know, like at a you know, booth somewhere, like, you know, trying to, you know, drink a couple beers or something like that. I just want that. I want that environment that is like, I don't want to say it's a party environment, but our beer garden is very much like everybody's having a good time. Like there's, you know, we have those things going on out there. And, that's what the brewery's about, like bringing people together and like, just really enjoying the time.
It's the experience. It's the interactivity, the experience. You don't want to be sitting inside, like you said, a booth. and everyone at the table was on their phone instead of interacting with what's
Right.
going on, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so our brewery, I mean, we have like these big tables built over the
Communal
the communal
tables.
tables. So
Mhm.
you would sit down, like we almost force that issue, you know,
Yeah.
like if Tina and I just went in there and we weren't with the brewery and we didn't know anybody, we're gonna sit at a table and I guarantee the people across from the table from us, we're
Yeah.
gonna talk to them and
Yeah.
like become friends.
Yeah,
Like
you
Yeah.
have to, right? You can't.
Yeah.
It's too hard to sit there without having an interaction.
Yep.
And I do appreciate those long tables. I've been to a few breweries that have those, and it
Mhm.
does. I mean, my wife and I are already very talkative, and we like meeting people
Mhm.
and stuff. So we're already prone to that. But when you're put in that position, you're even more prone to it, and you just
Yep.
have more. It's easier to do it. I mean,
That's what we wanted.
yeah, I always go and sit at the bar if I'm by myself. For my work, last few years I haven't traveled very much for work, but used to travel a lot for my work. And if I'm alone, I'm sitting at the bar wherever I'm at, because
Yep.
at the very least I have the person serving me, from the bar to chat with, but I
Mhm.
end up interacting with the people around me, and I meet new
Yeah.
people. In fact, one of the guys that I still interact with today from Israel, we met over a bar, and
Awesome.
and it's things like that makes the difference. So I do
Does.
applaud your.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's always been our literally our number one goal
Mhm.
is like to bring people together.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
that's like we look at every event we do, how our beer garden, how our brewery's set up, like how do we provide an environment that
Yeah.
just like makes people want to be there. Like we want people, like don't get me wrong, we want people to be there and drink beer. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we're in business to do. So like brew good beer and just have an environment that people want to be in. Like
Mhm.
it seems like such a simple idea to Tina and I, but you go to some other breweries and stuff and you're like, what the hell are you thinking here? Like this isn't gonna work, or
Yeah.
whatnot. But
Yeah.
and then you go to some other places that like they crush it.
They get it.
They
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
people want to be with people and like have fun
Mhm.
and like just relax. I mean, that's what beer's about. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't want to think too much about like what I'm drinking and like how I'm drinking it. I mean, I'll critique a beer just as much as anybody else, and so will Tina. But like I just at the end of the day, I just want to like enjoy it and like enjoy my family, enjoy my
Mhm.
friends, and
Mhm.
be a part of like whatever like life's given to me. So
Yeah.
it's cliche, but that's I mean honestly, man, like that's
Mhm.
it. Like I
We
don't
got-
want to think too much about it.
And we
Yeah.
got like, what's another crazy thing is when we were opening the brewery, again, got to think we were the first brewery in our county. So even like people that were like really good friends with us, they were like, wait a minute. So how many TVs are you going to have? And we were like,
yeah.
we're not going to have TVs.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're not going to have TV? You're not going to have sports? We're like, well, we might have like a big, like a screen that we can like put down for
Mhm.
special sports occasions, like
Yeah.
Super Bowl
Yeah.
or like
Like-
playoff games,
the
like
big-
local
the
playoff
Bucks,
games, the
whatever.
Bucks or the Lightning or the Rays.
Go Bolts.
Go Bucks.
Just saying.
Go,
Sorry.
yeah, exactly. But like on a day-to-day, like Sports Center, like playing on 60 TVs,
Yeah.
like no.
No.
And they were like,
I don't get
oh, well, what kind of food are you going to have? Well, we're not going to have food.
Yeah.
We're going to have food
yeah.
trucks. What do
Yeah.
you mean you're not going to have food? Well, we're going to have food trucks. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
we're not a
understand.
restaurant.
Like, yeah, it was just like,
It was
like
so
even
bizarre.
people that were like super good friends with us were just like,
Like, how are you gonna make money?
I don't
Like,
know. I'm really worried about you guys.
I don't understand.
like they know we're putting our life savings into this, like this is our like 30 years of like owning our other business,
Mhm.
saving like every penny we have to like open this little brewery. And they're like, we're a little concerned. We're going to have like an intervention with you, like
Just have it
I
at the
don't think this
brewery.
is the
That's
best
okay.
idea. And we were like, no, we think it's going to be good. And they were like, oh. Yeah. So it was interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
So
True story.
true story. Yeah.
True story. Just as long as you have the intervention at the brewery, it's okay.
Like, you want a beer?
Yeah. Drink this. We'll talk.
So wild.
Okay.
So wild.
Yeah.
All right. So guys, how much beer do you guys produce in a year?
So we're so last year we were about 3,000 barrels.
Let's partner that with how big is your brew house also?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, last year we were about 3,000 barrels. This year we'll probably do closer to 4,000
Wow.
barrels. So we're a 15 barrel premier. So we're a steam plant. We got a boiler. I think we have like 10 or 12 30 barrel fermenters, and then like kind of just a spattering of like 15s and 7s. Just
And
kind of
twos and
into, yeah. So we have like a pilot program too. So yeah, we brew like a lot of 1 or 2 barrels for like our one-offs and like our passport beers and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, it's in trying to grow that. We're positioned to grow it more, but space has been kind of like a problem or whatnot. But
We started off as a 7 barrel.
yeah, so 7. We
Okay.
started at 7, yeah, and we bumped up to 15. It doesn't seem like a lot, but the from the 7 barrel we went to the 15 premier steam is like a substantial jump. Yeah, so we're just trying to like grow that and whatnot. But
I think if we had a 30 barrel and all 60 barrel fermenters,
yeah,
I don't think it would still be in like, I
It's
think,
still
Really?
I think we could
still
sell
not
it all.
it's
Yep.
still not.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not
Wow.
I'm not saying that in a cocky
No,
whatever way. I really
you're
am not. I
no,
just,
you're saying
like,
based on
that's
what
our-
you guys are doing,
yeah,
you guys
yeah,
are
that's our issue. Yeah. Our issue is not being able to
Yeah.
produce and
9 out of 10 conversations at Marker when we come in is where do we put more shit, and
Yeah.
like how do we
Mhm.
plumb that in or connect it to the steam or connect it to the chiller?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
how do we make more tanks happen or more beer?
Where
Yeah, that's literally all we
Yeah.
talk about every day, and how we do that.
which
So
is a great problem.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
But we've always, so we go back to the business plan, like it's always been Maurice and I. We've never taken on business
Partners.
like partners. It's just him and I. And we have always like slowly grown the business. Like that's what we always knew we wanted to do. Like we've never taken on crazy debt or
Mhm.
loans or anything like that. Like
good.
anything any success we have, any time where we do very well, we always reinvest that back into the brewery, whether it's staffing or equipment or, whatever. That's how we've grown the business is very slow and steady, like never trying to like do too much or, distribution wise, like we've never like grown our areas too crazy that we can't keep up with it. We've always said, nope, we won't go into that area unless we know we can support it and keep up with it. And,
organic growth. Is
Yeah.
our-
Organic growth is
Yep. And so great. We have a great team like on
Yeah.
that side of it. So like Kevin, which Chris, you've chatted with DeSimone quite a bit, or like he's been on this. I don't know if he's still on. Is Kevin still on here?
He's on here
But,
somewhere.
So, I mean, great friend of
Yeah.
Tina and I is like, love that guy to the ends of the earth. And
Yeah.
like a 19th generation beer guy. I mean, it's grandfather's beer.
I don't know about that, but
yeah, a couple generations. But
He said, "I'm here."
yeah, he is. So like just a fantastic individual there, and helped us like look at how we grow it organically and not overcommit. And I think we're safe that way because I don't, Tina and I and like the rest of it, we don't want to overpromise, underdeliver. I mean, that's like the last thing we want is to put a tap somewhere and then not be able to like put kegs, have kegs delivered for that tap later.
Yeah.
And so we look at that, and I mean, we're small, but I mean, it's still a thing. I mean, every day we look at that, like make sure that are we producing enough beer to fill our current like backlog.
But Kevin's an amazing sales guy. And so again, if we had a 60 barrel system and, 90 barrel tanks, I think we could literally fill that up and Kevin would be out there
Yeah.
it for us. Not to mention what we have in our tap room, and we have
Yeah.
great staff in our tap room too. Since I got to shout out our Cindy, our taproom manager, who's been with us since day one.
Oh,
She's the mama bear that keeps, everything in the tap room going. All of our brewers are amazing. Yeah. So yeah, we have a great team. All of our bartenders, everybody, we have a great staff. We really do.
Yeah, you certainly do.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, I'm gonna let you. I marked down some ones I want you to ask. Ask these while I step away for just a second,
Okay.
and you guys can
Things
continue
got
on.
deep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Old man, it's almost been 2 hours.
Denny's
and my
breaking the
bladder-
seal.
Yeah.
No, it was broken before. You're lucky I got this far.
Well, listen, when you get back, we get to crack this third
Yeah,
beer.
we'll crack up. We'll do the last couple questions that I'm curious about. That I think is interesting, and then we'll crack that last beer and get you off of here.
Okay.
Right. No
Got it.
worries.
Got to shout out Victor too. He's been with us since day
Big
one.
one. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
the one that had the tattoo earlier.
Oh, that
That's me.
tattoo was fantastic.
Yeah, that's Marathon Man. He's our Marathon Man. So he's getting ready to run in the New York City Marathon again. This is his third New York City Marathon. We went to Berlin last summer because he ran in the Berlin Marathon.
Wow.
So he's our Marathon Man, but his tattoo is our little Marathon Man, Marker 48 guy.
Yeah, that was a really cool
Victor.
tattoo. If you guys didn't see it when I put my phone up to the camera, I guess you're just gonna have to watch this live again and
Yeah,
rewind
that's
it.
right. The whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing. Make sure you start from the beginning and then share it with people. Speaking of that, for those of you that are on with us, guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you wouldn't mind sharing this on your social media, we would truly, truly appreciate it. Get the word out about us, get the word out about Marker 48, and share it around the world. We would appreciate it.
Woo.
Guys, can you tell me about your small batch passport book and your special Wednesday passport day? What's that all about?
Wow, that's turned into like such a cool thing. So we don't really have like a mug club. So I almost think that's kind of taken like what most breweries have like as a mug club. So just like any great idea, we stole it from somebody else. No, but for real, we were up in like Asheville, and I want to say that Maurice and I were like visiting that area, and we saw in one of the local papers, like one of the local breweries had like a passport beer program, and we were like, that's a cool idea. Theirs wasn't like as elaborate, so we kind of took that idea and expanded on it, but we were like, that's awesome. So yeah, we started this thing called the passport program, and it's 48 weeks because we're Marker 48. So we do 48 weeks of small batch beers. So our brewers have the opportunity to do really cool, like one-off experimental beers that maybe they've been wanting to try. And we have our 1-barrel system. So they brew a small batch every week for 48 weeks. And so we publish this little book. It costs $100, but every week you come in for the 48 weeks and you get that beer for free. That's awesome. And you get a stamp. And then we write in the book what it is for that week. And at the end of the 48 weeks, if you have all the beers, you get a shirt, you get basically the following year, you get normally 16-ounce beers you get in 20-ounce sizes for the same price as the 16s.
Yeah.
We have a passport party at the end of the year where we do all kinds of crazy raffles, and we give away our island that we were talking about earlier. We give away like a weekend on the island. We give away like, some pretty cool like prizes. So yeah, we do like that. And what it turns into is kind of a family, like a lot of passport people have become like really good friends, like going back to that kind of community thing, people that like from all walks of life that probably normally wouldn't, connect, and they do, and they connect over beer, and it's awesome. And every Wednesday they come in, they get their beer, they talk, they like critique the beer, they, it's super cool. They review it, like whatever. Yeah. So
and from our brewer standpoint, it's 48 beers that they would never brew, normally brew. So I mean, there's we don't impose any kind of limits on it. So they they can literally brew anything they want.
Mhm.
So it could be an elaboration of a core beer we have, and we want to try to experiment with like maybe, like some different like scaling things with it, or if they just wanted to brew like a grass clipping, IPA, like they can do that too. Like there's literally nothing off limits. I mean, I guess it's got to be drinkable.
Yeah,
and,
it's
like,
got to be drinkable.
We've never had like a
No.
beer that's like not drinkable.
No, we haven't.
There's been a couple that are close, but not anything that's not like shit. This is like terrible.
Yeah.
But
And,
it just,
some of our staff, like our brewers let our staff, like our bartenders and people that maybe normally wouldn't get to brew, throughout the year, but maybe want to brew, they involve them in the small batch. So a lot of times, like our brewers will say, hey, bartenders, if you want to, if there's a style of beer you really like and you want to brew, like come get with me. We'll figure out the recipe and you can come in and brew with me, and like we'll do it together. And that's really cool too, because again, that kind of gives our guys and girls on that side of the bar who don't normally see the kind of the day in, day out of the brew house side, like a chance to come in and do some really cool stuff.
and actually
too.
the winner of the small batch, like then when we do the event at the like we do all the prizes and stuff, one of the prizes is to brew for the next year.
Yeah.
So even our
Yep.
customers get to come in and like brew and
Yep.
stuff. So
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. So like
Yeah.
in there, again, nothing's off limits. I mean, we kind of guide, like, if it's just somebody that's, doesn't have anything to, doesn't know anything about brewing,
Mhm.
we'll kind of guide them in the direction of like, this is probably a good thing or whatever, but like they have some influence in it. So, but it's just a lot of fun, and it's involving the community into the beer.
Yep.
And that's really what we want.
No,
So,
that's
it's
I would.
great. It's a great program. Love it.
I would join for sure if I was.
Yeah.
there.
It's
Well,
cool.
currently, Denny, they've got the sweet potato lager on right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It
I'm a
sounds
big
good.
fan. I'm a big fan of like pumpkin and sweet potato.
That'd be
beers
right up
for sure.
Sarah's alley too.
Yeah, for sure. We eat a lot of sweet potatoes in this family.
Oh yeah, love it,
Yeah,
love it.
Same.
Idaho. I mean,
It's
hey.
yeah. So
Kevin
well,
said, "Come brew a beer, Denny."
okay.
Yeah,
I've
Come
I've
on.
See,
brewed-
everybody's trying to lure you to Florida.
come to Florida.
I want to come. I will be coming to Florida, and I'm definitely going to be coming to Marker 48.
Awesome.
Depends on how far you are. How far are you away from Tampa?
So they're about an hour from me.
Oh,
But-
that's easy. I can
but
do
that's
that. I can do that.
that's an hour Tampa time. So like it could be an hour 20 minutes. It could
Okay.
be 55
No,
minutes.
It's doable.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
It could be
doable.
2 hours. It just depends on time of
Yeah.
day, what's going on, that
We-
kind of stuff.
We have cool stuff up here, Danny. So you'll
Yeah.
be fine.
You could find a reason to stay up there for a little while.
we got you covered, man.
Okay. Well, and I'd have to. This is a good segue into my last question. We had a lot of questions because I didn't know. I can never gauge how much we're gonna have to draw stuff out of our guests. You guys were wonderful. You guys provided a lot of information that we didn't have to guide you at all. You were just providing, which I really appreciate. Makes our job a lot easier.
No
So,
worries.
I've
A lot of
met Chris.
questions.
I'm a talker. Chris knows now.
but I have to come.
we could
visit you-
put Tina in like a room with like just a wet napkin, and
Yeah.
like, she'd be like,
Well, it
That'd be fine.
was between Tina and Tina at the brewery the other day, and
Yeah.
Mo and I were just like, "Come on, let's go over here. We'll go over, let them do their thing."
it's exhausting.
But I do have to come to Marker 48 because I want to meet your employee of the year. Could you
Oh yeah,
Oh yes.
talk
He's-
about
he's
Willie
cool.
Meowson?
he's
Willie
cool.
Meowson.
He's cool.
He
The name
he
like
put
that,
on-
he better be.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he put on a few pounds over COVID. He actually just went to the vet last week because he's been like a little kind of weird acting, like just not his normal. Like he's
Mhm.
normally like such a sweet kitty cat. Not that he's not being sweet, but he's just maybe been a little on the cranky side
Yeah.
lately. So which is just not his normal. So we took him to the vet and they did like a full workup and blood work and everything. And they're like, he's fine.
He's just cranky.
He's just
Yeah, he's
fat.
getting old.
He's
He's
fat.
just
He needs to lose weight. And we're like, we know, and they're like, he needs more exercise. And we're like, this cat is like back and forth from like our office to the brewery. Like he is like a very active cat, believe it or not. And they're like, well, you're feeding him too much. We're like, we're feeding him like one little cup, like in the morning and one little cup at night. I don't know. Like, so I don't know. He's just big boned. I don't know.
He's big. Yeah.
He's thick. That's what we're saying now. He's
But
thick.
He is thick.
He's not
He
husky.
takes after me. He's just a little big bone. That's all.
You haven't seen my kitten.
Yeah?
My kitten is a year old, almost a year old. She's not even a year old, I don't think. I'm thinking May she'll be a year. But she's like a mix of ragdoll and Mancoon.
Aww.
And she is, you want to talk about thick? This cat is like 17 pounds at a year,
Oh,
and she's just all thick bone. But she's a dog. She literally follows me around everywhere and lays down right behind me or in front of my feet, want me to
Aw.
pet her and love her. And when I come home from work, she just like cries for me to go down there and pet her because she missed me. I was gone all day.
Aww.
And so yeah, we're a big cat family here at my place,
That's
but I know
awesome.
about big thick bone cats too. So.
Yeah.
yeah, Willie is definitely.
Well, Willie's a big boy. He's so sweet though. He really is. We call him our emotional support cat at the brewery. So like when you're having a bad day, you just go over and Willie will just, and he definitely is like me and Cindy. He's like he's
your
yeah,
people.
yeah. He's
But we actually got him for other reasons around the brewery. if you know
The
what I mean.
mice, right?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and he it just didn't work
Yeah,
out.
no.
He
Wasn't
did not
into
want
him.
that job.
no interest, zero. Yeah. He's like, yeah, no. I'm not doing it.
So-
I want the nice air conditioned office.
Yeah.
And the litter box with the most expensive litter. And you can
I love him.
Yeah.
I love
but
him
he's,
already.
He's the best. And we always tell everybody, like, yeah, he's the real boss. Like
And that's
he's,
actually so Employee of the Year is like in June, I think. we put
yeah,
out
usually
that.
we do that in
Yeah,
June.
yeah, so
And he's our employee of the year every year.
Every
so
year.
It's a no-brainer. Yeah. Everybody knows it.
Everyone votes.
All our
for
employees
Willie.
know it. Willie's gonna get it.
No
yeah.
chance.
No
That's
chance.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Okay.
There's yep.
All right. Well, that's the last that we're gonna hit you with these questions. Like I
No
said,
worries.
we had like 10 more questions we didn't get to,
Sorry.
and I was curious about them. But you know what? Maybe we'll
They
have you
answered
on
most of
again.
them.
We can. Most of them you did, but
Yeah.
there's some interesting ones. But we'll cover those another time. It's okay.
That's our brewery dog. Wait, can't see
it's
him.
not there he is.
There he is.
Oh.
wait.
Why is
There he is.
There he
Ah, yes.
That's Barley.
That's fine.
His name's Barley. Oop, what did I do?
Shit.
Is he still a puppy?
Yeah, he's only
Year-
he's only
year and a half.
year and a half.
A year and a half? Yeah. He looked like a puppy face, but
Yeah.
I can be
Bummer.
fooled too.
Yeah, he's
He-
got that
he
look
got-
to him like, I'm gonna be a brat, but you're still
Yeah,
gonna love
yeah.
me.
He's-
Not that I would know
Yeah.
anything. I don't.
Yeah, not that you would know, Chris. Yeah. No, he's
Oh, Red Right, there it is.
he's our baby.
There he is.
Okay.
Oh, Red Right.
Let's break open this
Let's
last
drink the Red
beer
Right.
before we get you guys off. I apologize
worries.
for chatting so long. It wasn't my plan to keep you so late, but I
that's
enjoyed every moment of our discussion.
Us too.
Same.
But I am curious. Could you please explain the name of this beer? What does Red Right Return mean?
I'll let the fisherman.
It's honestly it's about as simple as it gets. So when you're returning from like the Gulf or the ocean,
Mhm.
so any marker that's red, you want to keep it on the right
Oh,
coming in. It's
okay.
pretty important. I mean, so channel navigation, red right return is known. Idaho, you may not know that because there's like not a lot of that going on.
I don't think we have any markers
But-
in Idaho.
But if you're on a boat in Florida or the
Yeah.
East Coast or West Coast for that matter, and you're coming
Okay.
into port, that's a pretty good nomenclature for coming in.
Okay.
Or
That
going
makes sense.
out.
Or, yeah,
Even
So-
going out.
Yep.
Because if you know if red right return
coming in.
is
Yep.
if-
That's gonna keep your boat on the right
Yeah.
side of the rocks. or
yeah.
The reef or the whatever
Okay.
problem that the boat's not gonna be able to get through.
Okay, so it's not only just the traffic and keeping people from flipping you off because you're on the wrong side. It's also
Or
hazards
that,
as
yeah,
well.
that as well. Yeah. But
They'll do that anyway.
In lakes and rivers, I mean, it still applies. I mean, it's a national kind of thing. But yeah, definitely is a big,
Mhm.
especially the Homosassa River, which is one of the most
Oh, yeah.
treacherous rivers in Florida. Like
Mm.
you have a lower unit that you don't like. I mean, this is probably a spot you want to
Mhm.
you get rid of it at. It's there's a lot of rocks and a lot of
Yeah.
terrain here that
Yeah.
that can
Right off our little island that we were telling you about earlier, channel marker 48.
Mhm.
There's a rock called $1 Million Rock because
Oh.
the local marina said that he's made over $1 million on props
Oh my
from
God.
from people hitting this rock and their props just getting all dented and
Oh
everything.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yep.
definitely
Okay.
a crazy river to be in.
Okay. So this is an Irish red ale, 6.6%
Yeah.
ABV, 19
Yep.
IBUs.
Yep.
And you said this was one of your first beers that you guys were brewing and still is on your, I'm assuming one of your core beers you have on tap all the time.
Mhm.
So why did you choose an Irish red to be one of your core beers early on? Something that you guys gravitated towards in your craft beer journey?
Well, yeah, we always loved that maltier, like Tina was saying, that maltier beer. It really we brewed that beer early on and it turned out good. The version you're drinking it tonight, it's definitely not what we
Same.
brewed. Yeah, the same. So it's a little more we've altered it to be a little more commercial, a little more economical to brew.
Mhm.
An easier brew. I mean, we had much more complex malt
Yeah.
bill, much more complex hop bill. Like we just
We
streamlined
have
it.
like
a lot.
Irish moss. And,
Yeah,
Oh.
we streamlined it a lot to make it easy for our brewers, but still we wanted a super malty backbone. It's dark in color.
Yeah, but it's
right.
dark in
If
color.
you look
but
at it, but it's got the
it's-
red in there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's on the malty side of a red, Irish red especially. But we wanted something that demographically would be
palatable.
palatable, or like folks, we weren't looking for like the younger beer drinking
Mhm.
IPA guy or girl. We wanted that middle age demographic, and I mean that fit in like Tina and I, like a lot of
Mhm.
folks that just like you have the Killians, you have like these
Yeah.
like Irish beers that are out there and these red ales that are out there that people just drink massive amounts of. And we wanted to brew something that was kind of in that category
Mhm.
that would appeal to those folks.
And we love Ireland.
And we love that.
We
I love
went
Ireland
to
too.
Ireland. We went to Ireland actually, we went to Ireland right before we opened the brewery.
Oh.
And we had already brewed the Red Right Return, but we kind of tweaked it a little more like after we got back from Ireland. And yeah, it's just been a staple ever since. Like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
love Ireland. Like
And that beer,
Maurice is Irish. Can you tell?
Yeah.
I can see some red in there.
Yeah, a little bit Irish there.
and so it's a great in terms of a core beer. I mean, we've really we brew more of that beer than any other beer we have. And it's in package and in tap, like on tap in probably hundreds of accounts throughout the greater like Tampa area. So yeah, super proud of it. It's again malty,
Mhm.
but it's still got like the hop bitterness comes through on it a little bit. Still got some sweetness on the residual on the end. Yeah, people just like love it. I mean, it's got like kind of like almost like a cult following with it.
Yeah.
And,
It's
we've actually like tweaked the recipe over the years a little bit and had like fallout because
oh
we
really?
modified a little bit. Like don't F with
Don't
our
mess with it.
red
Yeah,
return, like it's
Mhm.
weird. And we're just trying to make it better. And like, no, it's not better. So yeah, like
Keep it the way it is.
so
Yeah.
so it's a struggle like to like economically brew that because it's got a malt, like a heavy malt bill.
Yeah. No,
and
yeah.
it's actually pretty expensive beer to produce. So our cost, a cog on it is like not where, like really to make money or whatever, but like we still gotta like brew it where people love it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we do it, and like if you go out, like most restaurants, Citrus, Hernando, Pasco, I mean that's a beer that's going to be on tap there for sure. And people, they really gravitate towards it. So it's super cool to see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it gets you, just got to remember that. So if you're on a boat, you get home, crashing into a rock pile.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a beautiful beer. It does have a dark.
Oh, there you go. You see
Yeah,
it?
it's kind of hard to
But-
see.
Yeah,
Do it
but
th- I like doing it
I've
this
got a
way.
light right here, so I can see through. And it's clear. It's a nice clear beer, even though you're not using the Irish moss. It's still clear.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
and
very
it's nice,
clear.
nice red color. And here's what I like. It's very drinkable, very drinkable. It's deceiving because up front I get almost like a candied character to the
Mhm.
flavor, like a sugar candy, but it finishes dry where I have that pucker,
A little bit
not
of
puckering,
bitterness
but
in there too.
yeah, I get that dryness finish. So it's very deceiving. And that, I think that's what makes it so drinkable, is the fact that I feel like I'm getting something a little bit sweeter than it is, but I don't have the sweetness. I have this dry mouth feel at the end, right? It really does a good job of drying out
Mhm.
and making it drinkable. I think that is a good balance between those two characters. And
Yeah.
and
And definitely
I
once that ends, like you just want to drink more of it. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Mhm.
definitely in terms of like a multi Irish, like I don't know
Yeah.
that, I mean, in all fairness and all like honesty, I don't know if it fits the Irish red
yeah, I think
category very well, but I mean, it might be on the borderline a little bit, but we've it's pretty close to where it still was when we first brewed it, and we knew it was in the Irish red. And we may look at that again in the future, but I
Mhm.
think it's still in the Irish red category. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it's kind of like a departure of a hair, but
yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, we're been super happy with it. And
Yeah,
I
it's
know
not
a lot.
the departure is not too far off.
Yeah,
But you're
yeah.
right. It's not like what you'd expect when you drinking an Irish red from Ireland.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah, it's kind of our take on it for sure.
Yeah, but that's
Yep.
your prerogative, right?
Yep.
You don't
Yep.
need to design these things exactly to the style. You design it close enough, and as you've tweaked it, as long as your patrons are enjoying what you're putting out, and it seems to be like a popular beer since it's still on there, then you're doing the right thing. And
Yeah.
there's no reason to change it because it doesn't meet every single check mark on the list.
Yeah. Yeah, and we like guidelines. I mean, I like styles. Like we brew the style in
Mhm.
some cases, but sometimes that doesn't always. Yeah, and I think that's one of the great things about craft beer. I mean, you don't like just brew and make products and make beers that are like people enjoy, and like don't
Yeah.
sometimes
Exactly.
don't fuss about all the details, and just do what comes natural. So
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
that's kind of been our MO from the day one, and
I-
continue to be.
Yeah. I'm not a stickler for style. Now, a question we didn't ask you is that, I know that being a brewery owner, dealing with all those, you already mentioned the jerks from, coming in and rating your beer on Rate Beer or Beer Advocate or Untapped and complaining because you don't have whatever they like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I use apps like that, not to be like to boost myself up, but to keep track of beers I've had and find out, like when I go and visit and I see that this beer is on there and I want a beer of that style, I kind of rate towards that style as far as how my enjoyment was at that style.
Mhm.
But I don't hold it to exactly, verbatim that this has to be what it is. Now, if it diverts from it too far, I will comment and saying,
Sure.
this beer is not this style, but it's still good. But I'm going to rate it a little bit lower because it's really far departed from the style. But I agree. I mean, I enjoy beers for the style that they are in. And when I'm looking for brown ale. I want it to be a brown ale. I don't want it to be a brown ale that you can't taste the malts in it because it's got something else in there. I want it to, have that character.
Yep.
That's what's confuses me so much with what people are enjoying. All these pastry stouts and things, those are great. I applaud brewers who can make a beverage taste like something that it's not supposed to be, but it takes away when I can't taste the beer anymore. I'm drinking beer because I want to have some beer character. So breweries that can, I'm getting off topic. I'm getting on my soapbox here a little bit, but
Yeah,
breweries
good.
who can showcase the beer, but then present something on top of it that's really unique. I applaud that because you're still showcasing the beer. The beer is a king here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that you haven't stepped away too far. This is a great, great, Irish red ale. I'll say it's Irish red ale. Does it meet everything? Maybe not. Maybe it has a little bit of extra sweetness in there that I wouldn't have got, a little bit extra body, but it still is a very good beer. And I can see why people still keep coming to you and drinking it, because it's
Thank you.
Thanks,
good.
Tony.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Oh,
Yeah,
crap.
that's,
What do we
I
got
mean, we've struggled, like
It's
is
Willie.
it in there? Oh shit, there's Willie. Yeah, there he is. That's the boy. Yeah.
He's
that's
holding
big
that
time.
barrel down like a champ.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and we've really with that,
Here.
like, oh shoot. Tina's got him on his like on her man.
It's
Oh no! Oh, whoa! It's the aliens again.
He came right out of the green
he
screen. It
did.
was just a cat face. It was awesome.
So yeah, that beer's been a very our core beer, and we'll always brew that. I mean we shoot in the tap room. Our folks drink. I mean, we drink a lot of it. Our customers drink a lot of it. It's a very popular thing in our distribution market. So yeah, super happy with that. We'll keep on making it as long as we can. So
yeah,
sure.
Okay, well, you know what? It's time to call this show a close. But before we do that, we always don't sign off yet. We always like to give our guests and us a chance to raise a glass to someone we'd like to raise a glass to. So, Maurice and Tina, who would you like to raise a glass to? Anyone special out there you'd like to raise a glass to tonight?
I would say all of our staff.
That'd be excellent. Yeah.
From the tap room all the way to the brew house to the sales guys, like Mo was saying, like we got
our background off.
there we go.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to see
I just
that.
realized you
fine.
could do that.
Yeah, we honestly, truly, deeply have the best staff ever. And I mean, Mo and I say it every day. Like we thank our lucky stars for them, because if it wasn't for them, we couldn't do what we do. Like the guys in the brew house work their butts off. The tap room folk work their butts off, and our salespeople work their butts off. And yeah, so I would say
That's what, we're the brewery is just a product of the folks that are involved in it. So, I mean, we'd be nothing without them.
Yeah.
And so that we're super thankful to have like a great team, great family.
true.
as
Yeah.
what- as
Yeah.
what is, our
Yes.
thing.
And it's not, like Mo said, it's not even just our staff, it's our
It's our
extended family. Like we have big events, like Chris was at the other night. And like, you'd probably never know, Chris, that we have like volunteers there that don't even work at the brewery. Like we're not even literally getting paid, that were there that night helping us. Like we have that, like, we're so lucky. We're so,
We're humbled by that.
we
So
are,
one of the
yeah.
biggest takeaways of this whole brewery, having the brewery and like building a beer business and beer culture is the people that support us and follow us. So that's to them. And
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
we appreciate y'all and we love y'all and thank you. Chris, Denny, we love you guys. Thanks for
Thank
doing what you
you.
do and spreading the good word about beer.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank
From
you.
Idaho to Florida, you couldn't even get further away. I mean, you'd be in Hawaii, Denny.
We could put it, yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
So-
Listen, it was a weird journey for us to get together too.
Wow.
so,
I bet.
I'll tell you about it next time I'm up at the brewery. But
Denny, we may be passing by Idaho this summer. So
Okay. Let me know.
Holler.
Let us know, and we'll get together. And
when you come to Florida, we have a place for you to stay. So
Oh.
It's a swamp mosquito infested island, but we got
Marker
you.
48.
Got
bring
you.
your bug spray. Bring your bug spray.
All right, Chris, how about you? Who do you want to raise a glass to?
So, guys, I would love to raise a glass. Mo, Tina, thank you guys so much for coming on with us.
sure.
For all the folks over at Marker 48, cheers to you guys. I have had nothing but an amazing experience
Aw.
with your team.
thanks, Chris.
And kind of a little more on the Marker 48 side. Cheers to Sean and Skylar
Yeah.
for their fourth
Aw.
anniversary.
Cheers.
So Skylar is your daughter, correct?
That is our daughter.
Okay.
And Sean is our son-in-law, and he's
Oh.
our
He does
production
what?
manager.
Okay.
Oh,
I met Sean at the Hop King event. So
Yeah.
making new friends all over the place.
And
So-
and I don't just say this because he's our son-in-law. He's an amazing guy. He's an amazing employee. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys,
Excellent.
cheers to the Marker
Cheers.
48 team, the Marker 48 family, everybody that hopped on here and showed you guys some love. Oh my gosh. I have never seen so many comments on one of our shows.
yeah, a lot of comments.
have
I'm
the
not keeping
best
track.
family.
I would like Chris take care of
Denny
that.
talks. I'm over here typing. So guys, thank you so much for jumping on with us. Denny, who would you like to raise a glass to this evening?
I've raised my glass to these two fine folks right here. I really enjoyed talking with you. Thank you for your time. If you haven't been able to tell, I've been impressed with your beer, not just because you're on here. Before you even came on here, if you look on Untapped, I was highly impressed with what I had already drank.
Thanks,
Aw,
sir.
thank you.
So cheers to you two.
Thanks.
Cheers.
We're trying.
You're doing
You're doing a damn
great
good job.
Also,
Thank
our
you.
Patreon toast tonight goes to Eric Gronley. Thank you for your
Cheers, Eric.
patronage. And of course,
Eric.
being a former serviceman, I always want to raise my glass and toast all those who have served or are currently serving in the U.S. military
Aw.
services, protecting our freedoms. Without that, we couldn't be on here drinking
Cheers to that.
and talking about craft beer.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, for sure.
My
Cheers.
dad and both my brothers are veterans, so cheers to
All
that.
right.
Cheers to
Cheers,
them
to
as
them
well.
for sure.
Thank you for your service, guys.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Chris, why don't you go ahead and toast our sponsor?
Well, here's the thing. I wrote that new one from today. I don't know which one I should read.
I'll read the one I put in here because
Okay,
unless
do
you
that.
put it in here, I'm going to
I
keep this
didn't.
one here.
All right. So, guys, go check out our sponsor, Tin Tackers, the provider of sweet metal beer signs that will make your walls happy. Tin Tackers has a vast selection of embossed aluminum beer signs, perfect for your garage, home bar, or man cave. They have the biggest selection with the best prices. They also have a mini Tacker of the Month club, a club just for craft beer lovers who collect Tin Tackers, a surprise in your mailbox every month. Go visit their website at tintackers.com and use the promo code TAPTHECRAFT at checkout to save 10% on your entire order and to let them know we sent you.
There's my new.
There's
tin
one of 'em.
tacker from Core 4 Brewing, which is also a listener who opened a craft brewery while listening to our show. So that's always great.
And I'll give you guys kind of a sneak for next episode.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah,
I'm not
see-
opening it. I'm just saying, look, we've got one to open for
Yeah,
next
see,
time.
I have mine. You guys are special. We didn't do the opening. We'll do that
Yeah.
next episode.
Yeah.
You got the talkie.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you can find the beers that we had on the show on our show notes on the Tap the Craft podcast. Or man, I've had a few drinks on the show
Drinks
post
support. It'll
on
help.
tapthecraft.com. And it is last call. It's time to bring the show to a close. We want to thank you for downloading, listening. We ask you to please tell a friend and, of course, subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And as a reminder, we release a new show every 2 weeks. Now go out there and spread the good word of craft beer.
Cheers.
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 For those